448. That is your responsibility, Don.
That's it. It's all on you. Don't like
it's
this.
all on you.
We're experiencing technical difficulties on TV.
I saw that. I have that too.
Oh.
That's not a good thing.
No, but you know what?
No. We're a radio vehicle.
That's right.
No, we're Rayro.
Rayro.
All right, so the Nets play tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff to hit today. We have Aaron Boone at 4 o'clock. We have Jim Cott at 4:45. We have Joe Douglas, who I'm told is going to tell us every pick he's going to make. He's going to come all the inside secrets. He's going to tell us, Don. Yeah, Peter, it's unbelievable. It's the first time a GM of a football team the week before the draft actually spills his guts. We're going to have that at 5 o'clock. So we're very excited. Yeah. Yep. So we'll ask him the right questions. He's going to say who he's going to pick with 4, who he's going to pick with 10, whether or not he's going to pick use the 10th pick to trade for Deebo Samuel. It's going to be unbelievable. If you're a football fan, you're going to want to listen to this. It's going to impact the whole draft. That's at 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. Nets and the Celtics. Woj is reporting, our very own Woj is reporting, Robert Williams III is going to play tomorrow in Game 3. A guy who had surgery is going to play tomorrow in Game 3. Ben Simmons, who has not had any kind of surgery, now he did have, I guess, an epidural in his back, he said, that's important, not playing tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Feels good about Game 4. Now, I don't know anything about Ben Simmons. I've never spoken to Ben Simmons. All I could do is pretty much operate on all the information that I've gotten from his years in Philadelphia and whatnot. If you could play on Monday night, you can play and you should play on Saturday. So this, to me, seems like a guy who wants no part of the enormity of the task. Because Saturday is the pressure. I'm sorry, Saturday is the pressure. If you lose Saturday, you're done. If you win Saturday, I bet you he doesn't play Game 4. If they win Saturday, I don't think he plays Game 4. He doesn't want any heat. Nothing. I know that's going out there, but if you could play, Peter, really, if you could play on Monday, you could play on Saturday. There's no reason. There's no reason you can't play Saturday. You can't give them a Willis Reed moment where you come in and you play 5-10 minutes just to juice up the crowd, juice up your teammates. You don't want to play. I'm sorry. I know that's harsh to say. You don't want to play.
I don't think that you're in the wrong for feeling that way. I'm very confused by it. The reason I was chuckling a bit when you mentioned Robert Williams playing is like we all know how serious an injury it was for him. I mean, this is a guy who had to get surgery, and he is literally getting back on the fastest timetable possible to make an impact for his team. And you could certainly argue that in theory, if Ben Simmons were effective, he'd be a much more important piece for the Nets than even Williams is for the Celtics. Yeah. So, and the Celtics are playing great, but he's still doing everything to get back. So this is very interesting, and I'm sort of at the point now where if I'm the Nets, am I just thinking, you know what, Ben, we appreciate it. Thank you. Let's just start next year and play 82.
And listen, we know how injuries work. They don't tell you anything, right? It's usually day to day, week to week. We're not sure. I've never really seen it be, well, he's definitely out for tomorrow, but we believe he'll be ready for Monday. Like, wouldn't you protect him and just say, listen, we don't know when he's going to come back. He's working to try to get back. We're not going to put a timetable on it, and it just alleviate the pressure. But now comes Game 4. Now he's got to play Game 4. Now, if he doesn't play Game 4, then what's the narrative going to be?
Setback.
Well, then you got to say setback, but you can't say, well, he tried to be ready for Game 4. He's not ready for Game 4, so we're looking at Game 5. Like, when do you ever see that? It's usually like we're, you look at like the Rangers situation with Capo Caco. He's week to week. All right, so week to week is very kind of vague, but all right, if it's week to week, then we can discount this week, maybe next week. Football, you see that he might be ready for next Sunday because there's 7 days between, 6 days between. He's definitely out for tomorrow. But then a day off Sunday, he'll be ready on Monday.
Now, here's Steve Nash saying that, in his opinion, there's no pressure on Simmons.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't want to put it all too much on Ben. He hasn't played basketball in this environment for a long time, so it'll be amazing to have him back and to incorporate him into our group on the floor. And obviously we know he gives us size and speed and playmaking and defense and rebounding, all those things that are helpful. But we'll just have to see how he progresses and not put too much pressure on him coming back.
I mean, really, we are in the ooey gooey portion of leadership. We really are. They know, Don.
I mean, listen.
They know if he could play. They know right now. So if they think physically he could play, you get in his face. If you're Steve Nash or you're Kevin Durant or you're Kyrie Irving and said, you get your backside out there and you play. Do you want to play or not? Otherwise, we shut you down for the rest of the year.
But, no pressure. Sorry, there's pressure. These are the playoffs. Your team's expected to win a championship. They're down 2-0. I'm sorry, I can't give you a soft landing here. All right, this isn't bubblegum and rainbow, and this is the NBA playoffs. You're down 2-0. Pretty much a must-win on Saturday. Is he not playing because, we don't want to put too much pressure on him? Well, there's always going to be pressure. Whether it's 2-1 or 3-0, there's going to be pressure in Game 4. Because if he can't afford to lose this one going down 3-0, do you really want to go down 3-1, having to go back to Boston for Game 5? So what window are you – the only window I can think of is you're down 3-0 and nobody expects you to win, so we'll bring you back in Game 4 and it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I'm sorry, you just gave you all the reasons why they need him back in the lineup. His size, his defensive ability. So I'm sorry, that means that you're needed. And when you're needed and your team is down 2-0, there's going to be some pressure on you. There's no way around it. People care. No. So I'm sorry, I can't empty the building. I can't disconnect the television cameras. I can't make the media go home and have you playing a game that doesn't matter. Sorry, that ship sailed. You might have been able to do that at the end of the regular season, but now you didn't do that. So sorry, where am I supposed to drop you in the playoffs, Peter, where there's no pressure?
The pressure, the funny part is, I'll tell you one place the pressure is real. Steve Nash can say there's not pressure on Simmons. Well, there's pressure on you, Steve. I mean, because there was going to be pressure, in my opinion, but certainly there's even more pressure because he's clearly getting out-coached, guys. It doesn't take a genius to see. The Celtics are more prepared. Udoka has a game plan that works. Can you adjust? Guys, I'm telling you, I think if they get swept in this series, it's the end of Steve Nash. I'm sorry, I'm not calling for it. I'm saying that's what I think is going to happen.
Well, I mean, Ian O'Connor, who really writes columns that are well thought out and circumspect, I mean, he took Nash to the woodshed today in the New York Post. He said he should be screaming from the top of the mountain about the way Kevin Durant is getting beaten up, even if it gets him fined. And then he didn't make one thing that jumped out at me. You know who made the adjustments at halftime in Game 2? Udoka did. Mm-hmm. Steve Nash didn't. So, I mean, this is really a referendum on a guy who has no previous coaching experience, and the only reason he has a job is he was an all-time great player. And I think the players thought, he's going to be ooey-gooey. He's not going to really, get in our face and coach us hard because he understands how hard the game is. Well, he's got to be that guy now because if you want – I've always said this about all these guys, that they get their job for a certain reason and they live up to that reason. Right. Well, if you're going to lose your job, though, you'll never be able to reconcile it with yourself if you never, ever did it the way you should do it. Now, ooey-gooey time is over. It's over.
Well, you got to find a halfway, but here's the difference between him and Tom Coughlin or him and Aaron Boone. Remember, Tom Coughlin had to kind of dial it down a bit because he had guys like Michael Strahan upset, and it worked, and they won a Super Bowl. Boone obviously was picked by the team because of his relationship with players. They didn't want an in-your-face manager like Joe Girardi. But here's the difference with Nash. He was picked by the players. It wasn't the organization to say, we want to bring in a guy that's going to be cuddly to the players. The players handpicked him.
Yep.
The organization had no interest in a year where, going into this super team to win a championship, that they had any interest in bringing in a coach with no experience. They were happy with what they had. They wanted the coach gone. They brought in Nash. This is by the players. So how is he supposed to coach him when he has a job because of them? But there are times where there's leadership, Michael. You kind of doesn't have to get in a player's face, but there's got to be a way to be a leader. A heavy hand sometimes is needed.
And really, the parallel between he and Jason Garrett, Jason Garrett used to stand there and clap. And not the kind of clap where, your hands are, perpendicular with each other, but like a kid claps. And this guy runs out after timeouts and is slapping each guy in the backside. That's not coaching. Stop it. And I'm going to tell you another thing, too. If Ben Simmons doesn't take the court, or if he takes the court and just plays and goes through the motion, he's getting traded. He's going to demand to be traded. He doesn't want the heat, man. He didn't want the heat in Philly. He's not going to want the heat in New York. And believe me, he doesn't realize the heat you get with Brooklyn is a lot less than the heat that Julius Randle gets with the Knicks. He needs to go to a place not expected to win, nice, close situation that, if they make the final the 8th seed or the 10th seed in the play and they're happy. That's what he needs.
Well, if you're right about this, it's not going to get any easier because even if they're able to ride this out, he doesn't play or they bring him back down 3-0 or whatever. They go into next year, Kyrie, KD intact. Then Simmons is the linchpin to everything. Because now you've got the super team. Now this not only does he have the pressure of putting this all together, because they'll use his injury as the excuse why they lost in the first round. So if he's healthy next year, the expectations are going to be through the roof. And even though the Nets are the second team in town, the nation's paying attention. They pay attention to super teams. They're on national television all the time. And he is going to be expected to help be the difference maker on this team making it or not. And if he can't handle the limelight, then how is he possibly going to be able to do that? He's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders. So you might be able to hide and get through it for these playoffs and just say it's the injury. If he's healthy in training camp, the pressure is going to be immense.
And that's why he's not going to be here. That's why Rich Paul is going to try to maneuver to get him out of here. Now, let's bring in a very biased observer, our producer, Andrew Gunling, who observed this guy every game that he ever played for the Sixers. Andrew, this doesn't surprise you, does it?
No. He does not want to play this season. And I understand why the Nets want him to play, because I actually believe that even with him not having played all year, he could help them in this series. Because I think this series for Brooklyn could be won on the margins. They have two great offensive players with Kyrie and KD, but the Celtics are one of the only teams that have players who are as good at defense as Brooklyn has players that are good at offense. So if the Nets can just throw one more guy out there to slow down one of Boston's great offensive players, that could be enough for the Nets to win. And Simmons could do that. So I understand why Brooklyn behind the scenes would be pressuring him to play, but he does not want to play. He's made it pretty clear without coming out and saying those words exactly. It's been all season of this. So my guess is he's not playing in this series. And
now, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. Udoka also was
Philly.
an assistant with the Sixers before the Nets, right? So he knows
Yes.
Ben Simmons as well as he knows Kyrie and Durant. And Ben Simmons probably wants no part of that. He knows exactly how to get into
I'm
Ben
sure
Simmons' head.
there's that. There's, the first time Simmons comes out there, unless they're doing offense for defense substitutions, which they wouldn't be throughout the entire game, they'll put him on the line.
They'll foul him.
They'll send him right to the free throw line. They don't care about his feelings. They want to win. And Simmons is probably picturing that in his head, and he wants no part of it.
Now, one thing I will do, I think Ben Simmons should play, especially if he could play on Monday. He should be able to play tomorrow. But this is not on Ben Simmons, guys. This is on Kyrie and Durant. I'm sorry. That's enough to win. You have two of the best players of all time. And that's not hyperbole. Two of the best players of all time. That's enough to win. And they've had two dreadful games from Kevin Durant. You can't blame Ben Simmons on that. Would Ben Simmons help them a little bit? Yes, he would. But don't put the blame that that Ben Simmons hasn't played in the series while they're down 2-0. I'm sorry, I won't do that. It's on the two stars on the team. Just is. There's no other way to look at it. So very interesting stuff. It screams to me a guy who wants no part of the proceedings. You could play on Monday, but you can't play on Saturday. Why? Explain to me why. He hasn't played since last June. 10 months. Come on, man. The mental issues, he's supposedly over that, right? Now it's the back. Well, you don't mess with the back, but ever since he got the epidural, he seems like he's fine. You can't give them 10, 15 minutes, their Willis Reed moment. You can't do it? Come on, Ben. Step up. You either want to play or you don't. You're either a basketball player or you're not. You either can handle pressure or you can't. I don't know why it's so difficult. Getting paid an awful lot of money. Now, I don't ever associate the money with how you play, but, you do have a responsibility to play. You can't keep collecting money and not play. I was once told, though, by a player in baseball, if you ever want to sit out for no reason whatsoever, say your back hurts. No way they could prove it. No way. Sometimes back pain doesn't show up on an MRI or an X-ray. Say your back hurts. No one's going to refute it because they can't look at it.
Well,
Sometimes it's beyond an X-ray or MRI. It just is.
it's interesting too. He's going to have more pressure the longer he waits to come back.
That's it.
The worse the pressure to start is. So if he doesn't come back in the playoffs, then we're just building immense pressure for Game 1 next year.
Sure.
It just keeps compounding, right, Don?
It never
That's
goes,
why he's not going to be here.
It never goes away. And to Michael's point, will that be during the offseason where he's just going to ask to get, let me trade me to Sacramento where I could be a star player but not feel any pressure. All the fans are going to love me. We'll never have any expectations. And he'll just be that guy, a great player on a bad team. And hey, listen, I'm not even entertaining this conversation if Nash and the organization had said, listen, he's hurt. We don't know when he's going to back. He's working hard, but we just don't know. We're taking it day to day right now. We'll let you know if we have an update. But it started, a month ago when it's like they believed that he'd be back in time to play a handful of games in the regular season, and then that never happened. And that he might be ready for the playoff. Now it's not happening. He might be available for Game 3. Now he might be available for Game 4. What's going to be the narrative on Monday when we start the show? Down 3-0 or down 2-1? What was it going to be? Well, we announced he's not going to play. They hope he'll be ready for game. Is that what it's going to be?
I think the only way he plays, Don, is if they lose Saturday, because there isn't pressure on 3-0, because you're not going to come back. Nobody does. If they win on Saturday, he's not playing Game 4. He's not, because there's equal pressure in Game 4 to even up the series before he go back to Boston. There's no way if they win Saturday that he plays Monday.
3-0, it's over.
Right, and then he could play, because that's a loosey-goosey game. You're supposed to lose when you're down 3-0.
But how is it going to look if he's, fantastic in Game 4?
Look awful.
Like if he's limping up and down the court, can't go, plays 10 minutes, obviously in pain, hey, that shows you, hey, this guy wasn't ready. Let's get off his back. But if he's flying and defending and blocking shots and looking great and plays 25, 30 minutes, that's going to look awful too. Because where were you when we actually needed it? We didn't need a win in Game 4 down 3-0. We needed a win in Game 3 down 2-0.
Now, I do feel sorry for my co-host on K-Rod. I mean, what an unbelievable loss for the Timberwolves last night. They were up by 26 at home. 26! Oof. And they lost the game by 9.
I think there's a former Yankee baseball manager who has a line about that.
It's not what you want.
No, it's not. I'm mad I missed it. It sounded pretty great.
Oh my God. It was a 21-0 run in the third quarter, and the coach never called a timeout. Charlie turned to me and said, is that a lot to have in a row without the other team scoring? And I said, yeah, that's a lot. Never called the timeout. It just kept going. They missed every shot. They turned the ball over. It was a team that was spiraling to the bottom of the urinal, and he couldn't stop it. He wouldn't stop it. And Karl-Anthony Towns played poorly. Wow. Well, you know what I have in my greedy little hands here, right? Oh, yeah. Would you like to guess, Don? Today's Yankees starting lineup against the Guardians, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Who gets the rest, my friend? Who?
Who was yesterday?
Yesterday was Glaber and Donaldson.
Okay.
I don't think they'd give Donaldson 2 days in a row.
And Higashioka, too.
Gallo was out of the lineup before that. And then it was Torres the game before that. Mm-hmm. So
it feels like Hicks time.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I didn't want to do Hicks again. Like I'm always leaning, but who else would it be? Stanton. Like if you're going into a natural rotation here, it's been a while for Hicks. I'll go Hicks.
Peter, you're impressing me. And Don, you followed in after Peter. It is Aaron Hicks. He gets rest roulette today.
Yes. There you
go.
Congrats, Aaron. Hey, Ron.
Here's the lineup. The DH is DJ LeMahieu. The center fielder is Aaron Judge. The first baseman is Anthony Rizzo. The right fielder is Giancarlo Stanton. Josh Donaldson at third base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, left fielder Joey Gallo. Gleyber Torres at second will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Isaiah Kiner Falefa. And Trevino will catch for the second straight day, and he is going to bat ninth. That's the Yankees starting lineup. Jameson Taillon will start. And the Yankees starting lineup brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael Kay Show and the official hot tea of Joe Torre and the New York Yankees. Now, when we have on Aaron Boone at 4 o'clock, obviously we're going to ask the questions. But here's what I'm going to invite all of you to do. Tweet us at TMKSESPN what you want us to ask him. And we're not even going to consider it unless you hashtag it Ask Boone. Maybe something will light a flicker of flame in our minds and go, that's a good question that we didn't consider. Maybe we will consider it. Maybe we'll not take any of your questions. But I want to put it out there, guys. I think that's interesting.
Crude.
No, don't make it crude because then it's not going to happen. So
That's right.
Flex your muscles. You're all angry. I know you are, although the Yankees are just one game out of first place. They're 7-6. They're starting a series against the Guardians, who, by the way, are better than you think. And then after that, they have the Orioles coming into town. So this could be a homestand where they get a little zoftic, a little fat. We'll see. 1-800-919-3776. That's the number. Also going to talk to Joe Douglas, as I mentioned, and Jim Cott's going to join us. He has a new book out. He's also going into the Hall of Fame this summer, which is pretty cool.
Finally.
A long time for sure. Peter, before we take a break, how was the premiere yesterday?
The premiere was fun. I had a great time. Natalie ended up not feeling well and not going, so that was a little bit of a bummer. But the first 2 episodes of Ozark were tremendous. Got to hear some words beforehand from Jason Bateman and Laura Linney. Went over to the Plaza, had a beverage or two. It was a nice night out. I got to tell you, listen, regardless of where we are pandemic-wise, in actuality, who knows? It certainly feels a bit different being out and about. If kind of, I don't know if you felt the same way, Michael, on Tuesday when you went out. It felt pretty much like normal life.
Yep, it really did. Now, one other thing. I don't know if you get this or if Don gets this too. I think Jason Bateman might appear on a majority of wives and girlfriends get out of jail free list. For some reason, he floats a lot of people's boats.
Well, because he's handsome and funny.
Well, he's a treasure.
He's in everything.
He is a treasure. He's American treasure.
He is. He's an American treasure. When you think about it, too, I just thought of this yesterday, so humor me, everyone, listening. Jason Bateman's story is tremendous. He was always second fiddle. Going all the way back to being second fiddle to his sister when she was on Family Ties. He was always the second guy. He wasn't quite Michael J. Fox. He was the next Teen Wolf. It was always like he was almost a teenage heartthrob, never quite was. Then he does this very niche show, Arrested Development, which gets a cult following, gets huge, and then after they do the little comeback to Netflix and it works for Netflix, they told the story last night. He then goes to Netflix with this idea for this show that he's going to direct and help lead, and it turns out to be one of the biggest shows on TV. He's really earned it, too.
On TV. Yeah, it's amazing. And, you know, he's good looking, but he's not good looking to an intimidating way to men. So they allow the wife to have him on the get out of jail free. It's like Paul Rudd.
Well, I have a theory because it's obtainably hot. Is the phrase that I call it when someone is attractive but not intimidatingly attractive. Where
like Peter.
Attractive just enough where you feel like you were in their league. You know that you're out, but it's enough to make you think.
It allows you to dream. Allows you to dream.
Yes.
It allows you to dream.
And all you really want to do in life, Peter, is to have the ability to dream.
Right.
That's exactly right. But listen,
that's what the
you guys are going to
is
enjoy
for
the
the
first 2
NBA.
episodes. It's exactly gives you the.
Right.
It's like
the
Jason Bateman
playing in the NBA.
playing.
He's not. He's not going to finish with the best record, but you got a shot.
Well, we already have one question in for Boone. Joey High Roller says, "Can you ask Boone his favorite color?"
My always favorite is, where does mayonnaise come from? That's always a good question that kind of stumps people.
All right, let's take a brief time out. We'll take some phone calls. Aaron Boone at 4 o'clock. We're going to have a great show leading you right into the weekend. It's Kayla Greco, Rosenberg, and you on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Coming up today on the Michael Kay Show at 4 p.m., it's Yankees manager Aaron Boone. At 4:30, it's Baseball Hall of Fame electee Jim Cott. And at 5 p.m., Jets GM Joe Douglas joins the boys, getting Jets fans ready for draft day. That's all today on K. The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Don't just watch all the NBA playoff action. Be a part of it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to bet on every matchup, every prop, even every shot. And you'll get your winnings as soon as the buzzer sounds. Make every playoff moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. Download FanDuel today.
Tonight, the Yankees and Guardians begin a 3-game set in the Bronx, and Yes gets you prepped with the Yankees pregame.
Aaron Boone is going to maneuver his lineup.
Then after the game on Prime Video, come back to Yes for a complete game breakdown and reactions from key players. Coverage starts tonight at 6:30 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can bring them with you wherever you go. You can jump, yell, hide and go seek, play dress up, or not. Go for a walk, or not. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that. But you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected. We're connected.
Now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen, 400 horsepower and an Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
You could pick from hundreds of law firms for your mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer case. But would you be confident that you made the best choice? Whites & Luxembourg is the firm that has represented more asbestos disease clients than any other firm in the metropolitan area. With 30 years' experience, they have New York's highest recorded asbestos verdicts of all time. The choice is clear, and the stakes could not be higher.
Whites & Luxembourg has our backs.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today.
Call 1-888-411-LAWS. That's 1-888-411-LAWS.
Lakers get it up the floor in a hurry. James, hard drive. Oh, rejected! The Fro just got the king.
Big old block by Jared Allen.
All of it. He got all of that ball. There was no dispute right there.
You want to be a champion every second. The regular season has got us prepared for this time. Taking each and every day we're together, having that sense of urgency.
Oh my goodness! Are
We have what we need to get the job done on any given night, knowing that we can be the last team standing.
With this DraftKings Sportsbook Minute powered by VSiN, I'm Tim Murray. We're almost 2 weeks into the baseball season, so let's take a look at the latest futures odds to win the American League Championship. At DraftKings Sportsbook, the Toronto Blue Jays right now in first place in the AL East. They are your favorites to win the AL pennant at plus 380. The Yankees not too far behind at plus 425, as are the Houston Astros sitting at plus 425 as well. Chicago off to a bit of a slow start, but the White Sox, with all that talent, sit at 5-1. And then a little bit of a drop-off down to the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 950. The Red Sox at 11-1. Mike Trout's squad, the LA Angels, sitting at 16-1. And the Mariners at 19-1. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the MLB. And this week, new customers can bet $5 on any team and get $200 if they win. Use the code YES when you sign up. Once again, that code is YES.
Except if you have Prime Video. That's Yankees and the Guardians tonight. And then the Mets and the Diamondbacks. What's the exact time on that, Anthony?
9:40.
9:40. So there you have it. That's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. During the big games this season, enjoy a Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Remember, when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please enjoy responsibly. Oh, let's go to the phone calls and see what we have. Let's go to Andrew in White Plains. Andrew.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. Hanging in there, enjoying the spring weather.
Yeah, it's nice.
As far as Steve Nash goes, it's just a thing when you let kind of the players take control, I guess, to some degree. Because if they had brought a more experienced coach in, he wouldn't have had to ride them in the regular season, like you guys were saying. They don't want to be coached hard and stuff like that. But now you have a situation like this where they're in the playoffs and their backs are against the wall, and they really could have used somebody with experience to help them, Like LeBron. Stephen A. always talked about LeBron, that, like, he's not hard to coach. He just has to agree with what you're telling him. He has to, appreciate and understand what you're coaching him with. And that's kind of like the same thing they got going on right now. They need somebody to help them in these situations when they're getting jammed up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw a quote from Kyrie, Andrew, and I think you bring up great points. Kyrie said, and this was the quote, I was stunned. He said, I'm going to work, we've got to work with the other coaches to try to figure out the other coaches. What, are you a coach? He actually said we have to work with the other coaches, like you're a coach. I know I'm Mr. Semantics sometimes, but what did that mean? We're going to work with the other coaches. I hope that KD and Kyrie finally realize that iso ball will not work in the playoffs. And there has to be some kind of coaching acumen, and there has to be a system, and there has to be a positive rotation that the players accept. You can't just let the players coach the team. And Kevin and Kyrie have to realize that. Kevin won a championship with Steve Kerr, who coaches. He coaches.
Well, you have every reason to think on paper that Steve Nash could be the next Steve Kerr.
Yes.
In theory.
You're right.
Like, he was a much better player. I mean, a much more accomplished player, with all due respect, than Steve Kerr. But that's not what makes a coach. And so we don't even know. The truth is, I'm not trying to diss Steve Nash, but the truth is, none of us know if he is good at this job. I said to you guys, do you remember that game like 3 or 4 months ago when they were in the middle of the losing streak? What was it, 11 straight, 10 straight? And in the middle of that streak, there was a game one night where I was complaining because when they walked off the floor, he was kind of chummy with everyone and slapping them on the butt. And I was kind of like, what kind of rec league soccer? Are you going to slice oranges for them? Like, what are we doing here? It just, we haven't seen. And I thought Alan made a great point yesterday. Steve's got to show us something. Get out there and scream. Get a tech. Oh, but listen, I'll be the first one to tell you, the Celtics were incredibly physical with KD and Kyrie the other night. Kyrie at one play got completely shoved to the ground by Jason Tatum. Get out there and scream and defend your players. Show them something.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, he's not distinguishing himself. Let's go to Kevin in Brooklyn. Kevin?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Kev.
Well, I just hope you guys and the families are doing well. I can't say that I actually miss you guys, because I watch and listen to you every day, but I guess I can say I miss speaking to you guys. But,
well, we miss hearing from you.
Well, I got a point, guys, that I think that it's going to take an owner that has some courage to at least have a backbone to say, you know what? You want to be traded? I'm not trading you. You're under contract. I'm not trading you. Because Harden got his way out of two places. Now Brooklyn took some trash because this guy's not going to play. Like you guys say, I agree with you guys. He's not going to stay in Brooklyn next year. I agree with you. So what did the Nets actually get? Draft picks? Come on, man. That's like throwing up, some money and everybody say, okay, grab what you can get and see who gets the most money. Because I would have kept Harden. It makes no sense to make that trade if you got a bag of goods that's no good. That makes no sense. When are these owners are going to, I was about to say something, but, when these guys going to grow up here some, and say, listen, I'm not trading you. You're under contract, and that's it.
And you know what? It's going to be interesting, Kev, because you see it in every sport. They accede to the demands of the players. They don't want a disgruntled player on their team. Now, the Cardinals look like they're standing up to Kyler Murray and saying there's no way we're trading him. Will the 49ers stand up to Deebo Samuel, or will the Jets have a chance to make a run at him? It seems like they always cave to the players, and I don't know what I would have done with Harden if he was miserable, but at least you knew he would play. If the trade deadline passed, he would play, and then you'd lose him for nothing. I think that's what they worried about, that they made that big trade, and they'd have nothing to show for it. At least now they have Ben Simmons and draft picks, and maybe they could turn Simmons into something else during the offseason. But I think they'd have a better chance to win now if they had a healthy Harden, a healthy Kyrie, and a healthy Durant. They'd have a better chance to win.
And we already said this yesterday, Michael, that we feel they'd be better off. Frankly, the best combo I think they have would be Durant, Kyrie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and that original team, truthfully.
Right. All right, let's go to Ben in Charlotte. Ben.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, Ben. How you doing?
Good. First-time caller, long-time listener. Hey, so I'm in Charlotte. I grew up in Jersey, big Yankee fan. And I'm getting ready to watch the game tonight on the Prime Video. So I go to my app, get it all set up, test it out. It says I'm blacked out. So I call Prime Video, and they tell me, yep, you're probably going to be restricted from watching the game because you're too far away from New York. So I don't know what's going on. Michael, if you know anything about the deal that they set up, the agreement they have, but this is terrible if it's true.
People like you, Ben, that have Prime Video, but you're not in the footprint of the New York area, you can't watch it because they're not. Prime Video is not allowed to broadcast it nationally because there's no streaming rights deal per se for Major League Baseball where every team stream could go out there, and you can't even get it on MLB.TV. So the only people that could watch it are people in the footprint of Jersey, Connecticut, and New York that are in the Yankee footprint and that have Prime Video. That's the only way you could watch it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people, even people in the footprint might not have Prime Video.
Well, it's one thing when you're trying to get people to get Prime Video. But but I don't understand why somebody outside the market shouldn't be able to get it on the extra innings package or on MLB.TV.
See, that's a good question because you can't get in Charlotte or Florida, but you can get it on MLB if you have the Major League Baseball package. But this is an exclusive package to Prime Video, and that's the only place you could watch it. And if you're out of this footprint, you can't get it. If you're out of the Yes footprint, you can't get Yes in other places to see the game, but you can get it on MLB.com.
I didn't even know about that part of it because there's Yankee fans all over the world.
Yeah.
And so those people invest money in the extra innings package so they can watch the Yankees or the Mets or whoever outside their market. And now they decide to do something to get people in New York, in the footprint of New York, the tri-state area, to watch the Yankees. Then why should the people outside the New York metropolitan area be deprived of watching? Because they pay for MLB. So but I don't even know how that really even helps baseball. Like, why are you ticking off the people that aren't in the footprint? Like, I get the footprint part of it because Amazon Prime is trying to get a big number. They're trying to get the Yankee fan to purchase it. So somebody outside New York who was willing to purchase it to see it now can't see it. Like that's ridiculous. That's poor marketing. That's just a poor job. That's like not even knowing how to make money.
And you really can't even blame Prime Video because they're not allowed to broadcast it. But the outside the footprint, but the fact that you can't get it on anything else, so you're The Yankee fan in London that has the MLB package can't see it. Yankee fan in San Diego can't see it. You just can't. Now, I think the replay of the game will be on Yes afterward, but people want to see it live. I would assume.
It's not 1978.
If you have Prime Video, you can see it tonight in the footprint of or the Yankee footprint in New York, Jersey, and Connecticut. Let's go to Anthony in New Jersey. Anthony.
Hello.
Hello.
What's going on with these Yankees? I can't do it anymore. This Boone, he's got to go. You got to let him know tonight when you're talking to him. I can't do it anymore.
All right, Russo. Nice try.
Let him go. No, come on.
Well, you know what? I really
that
thought
was fake.
that was Peter.
That's fake.
I thought it was Peter.
Well, why not let him go long?
No, because
But
I'm not.
Michael,
I didn't hang up. I didn't hang up. He just hung up.
I'm not sitting there, trying to decide who's going to make a play. This isn't a casting call.
Don didn't hang up.
I can't hang up. I didn't want to hear it anymore. We're up against the break, and this guy's trying to do something funny. That he's trying to do a Russo. Goodbye. We entertain, not you.
Oh wow.
Hold on. I don't mind it. I just feel like you got to ask a follow-up question, Michael, and see where he goes once he needs to go to the next step.
No, when you're not happy, if this is Broadway and you're auditioning and I don't like it, all right, next.
Now, I've also been told that the footprint is part of Pennsylvania too. So the tri-state area and a little bit of Pennsylvania would be the footprint for Prime Video. So if you're out of the footprint and you want to see the Yankees Guardians tonight, get in a car and drive to the footprint. I hope the footprint is a Bigfoot. 1-800-919-3776. It's Kayla Greco-Rosenberg and you right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show is brought to you in part by Audi. Experience a fully electric Audi vehicle at your local tri-state Audi dealer today.
And it's Liberty Bell closest to the rail. Around the back turn. And here's the horse that comes. That race is way off the outside. And there we go on the track. They come down the line again. They're connected. So comes the goal.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
With Home Chef, your home cooking is home nailing it. Our classic all-in-one meal kits are simple enough for anyone and delicious enough for everyone. When it comes to making dinner, fill in the blanks with Home Chef. Delicious, meat simple.
Get 16 free meals when you sign up at homechef.com.
When you switch to Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited for $29.99 a month per line for 2 or more lines. That means unlimited nationwide 5G and the most reliable service coast to coast, all for $29.99. But do people really want that? Oh, yeah. Should I jump on, take a couple?
Yeah, are you trained?
No, but I have a lovely phone voice.
I don't think that counts.
Okay. Fair enough. Join the millions who have already switched. Get unlimited data for only $29.99. Call, click, or visit a Spectrum store today.
Sunday, NYCFC is taking the city by storm.
What a goal! That is just sensational!
As the captain, Sean Johnson, is ready to shut down Toronto FC and lead the boys in blue to victory.
Saved by Sean Johnson.
Coverage starts Sunday at 5 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
Until every case is filed, every argument is made, and every mountain is moved. Until the facts become clear, the truth comes to light, and people come before profit. Until our power comes clean, and all power is held accountable. Until beauty stands forever. The wild is truly free, and our climate is secure for tomorrow, until we win them all. As a national legal nonprofit with more than 150 full-time lawyers, no one fights more cases for the environment than Earth Justice. Until justice stands for all, we will never rest.
As a Main Street bank, PNC has helped over 7 million kids develop their passion for learning through our Grow Up Great initiative. And now, we're providing billions of dollars for affordable home lending programs as part of $88 billion to support underserved communities, including loans for small businesses in low and moderate income areas. So everyone has a chance to move forward financially. PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference for you.
Have you taken a body blow at work? If so, it's good to know that the lawyers at Pasternak Tilker are in your corner, ready to get you back in the ring. Whether you have a workers' compensation claim, a personal injury case, or a Social Security disability claim, Pasternak Tilker will fight for you, tooth and nail. Call them today at 888-208-7632.
Prescription eyewear can be really expensive, but here's a secret. Glasses don't actually cost that much to make. Surprise! Especially when you design your own eyewear and then sell it directly to your customers. Like we do. Oh hi, we're Warby Parker. Our glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. And the best part? You can try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
The stars are out tonight.
This is so much fun to watch.
My, oh my.
There it goes. See ya. Razzle dazzle. Oh, next level.
Oh, shut it down.
Come on. And it is what champions are made of. We don't touch the sky.
Baseball is back. It should be fun.
You're getting a show. Dazzled by Tyree Irvin. 60! Tyree Irvin!
It's been unbelievable. When you could get 60 in the flow of the game, guys supporting you and telling you to go after the record. This is what the game is about, bringing the love.
For every sport, there's a business behind the sport.
The total of that plus operation was $100,000 a day.
Forbes Sports Money goes inside the numbers.
I took the deal in equity.
To explore the financial side of the game.
It's been very successful for us.
Forbes Sports Money. New episodes every month right here on Yes.
Welcome back to the show. Aaron Boone's going to join us at 4 o'clock. Didn't do it yesterday because there was a day game in Detroit, which the Yankees lost 3-0, and then they had to travel back when he would have been on. So we will talk to him today, Friday, at 4 o'clock. Let's go to David in Plattsburgh. David.
Yes, Michael, thank you for taking my call. Long-time watcher, first-time caller. I really
Welcome aboard.
I really like your snappy shirt.
Thank you.
I'm a long-time Yankee fan. I first saw a Yankee game in Yankee Stadium 65 years ago. And
wow.
But the problem now is some of the hitters, they just can't hit. Gallo, of course, we know is pathetic. His stance is just too wide open. It's too open. As a kid, I was trained in Little League. You have a square stance. You step towards the pitcher and you hit the ball. He's all over the place when he steps. Even Judge and Torres, their stance, they're open a little bit. Judge cannot get to a curveball on the outside part of the plate because he's not stepping towards the pitcher. And finally, Stanton, his is too closed. He had 2 good games in the beginning, but look at him now. He's going to have to open up that stance a bit. So, anyhow, that's my opinion.
Well, Dave, I thank you for your opinion. These men have been hitting this way forever. They have not changed their stances. This is who Joey Gallo is. Aaron Judge has finished second and fourth in MVP voting with the exact same stance. Giancarlo Stanton has always hit like this with an extremely close stance. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that you just uncovered the secret to the world because the Yankees have really good hitting coaches, and this is the way these men hit. And if you throw a breaking ball on the outside corner to most right-handed hitters, most of them can't get to it. That's called the perfect pitch. I think Judge has done quite fine with the stance that he has. I appreciate you calling in, but I just they're not going to be changing their stance all of a sudden. Matt and Comac. Matt.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Just a quick question. These two series are going to be, I think, a test for the Yankees. I mean, the Guardians are a really good team. They have good young players. Jose Ramirez is a beast. And then they have the Orioles. I mean, I feel like they're must-win games, at least get half of the series, you know? I just don't know why they struggle so much against Baltimore. I mean, do you think it's like Baltimore is playing with nothing to lose in a way?
Yeah, but wouldn't you think, Matt, that Baltimore plays with nothing to lose against everybody? And they were 1-18 last year against Tampa Bay. So last year the Yankees were 11-8 against them. You'd say, well, that's not bad. Well, it is bad when the team that won the division is 18-1, and that's why you were a wild card and not the team that finished first in the American League East. So they've got to beat up on these teams. Now, must win. I'm sorry. I know everybody is very, very wired in, and they want them to win every single game. You don't have must wins in April. I admitted that losing 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, that was tough. That's you can't do that. But to say must win, let's say the Yankees got swept by the Orioles next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they reeled off 19 in a row. Well, what does the must win mean? I can't give you that. I can't say it's a must win. I know that's what you want to hear, and that's how people feel. They've got to win those games. Yeah, they should win those games, and if they don't, it's troubling. But you can't say, so they've played 13, so that would be games 17, 18, and 19 of the season. You're saying a must-wins? I don't agree with you. They should win them, but must-wins, I don't agree. Let's go to Jason in New Jersey. Jason.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for taking my call.
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm just going to add on to what the caller said on before. So obviously we know Boone that's not his job to call out players or anything like that. I just have a question for you because you're more dialed into the team. So like a guy, for example, like Gleyber Torres, I feel like every time he swings, he's really opened it up to the left side. And my question to you is that kind of what's being taught to the players, to open up all the way to the left side to pull everything? Or do you think it's kind of like a net situation, like in basketball, where the players kind of just have like free reign to do whatever they want and kind of whatever swing it is? Do you think they're being told to open up like that?
No, Jason. I believe that when Gleyber Torres struggles, that's what he does. He pulls off and wants to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And Paul O'Neill has always said, if he takes the ball to right center field, he's a much better hitter. When players go into slumps, that's what they do. When they get anxious, that's what they do. They pull off the ball and they try to pull the ball. And no, they're not being taught to do that at all. Gleyber's better way to hit is up the middle into right center field because he has the power to get it out. Let's go to Jeff in Maryland. Jeff.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Jeff.
It's so great to be able to talk to you. Hi, Don. Hi, Peter. A long-time listener of the show. This is regarding the Yankees tonight on Amazon Prime Video. Of course, I'm out of market, but I have the MLB Extra Innings package, plus I have MLB TV, and I think I can watch the game off the opposite team's broadcast. So I would watch the pregame show on Yes, and then the game on the Cleveland, and then go back to Yes afterwards.
Well, Jeff, from what I'm hearing, again, I'm not quite certain about it, that you can get the Yankee game if you have the Major League package. So it's just within the footprint that you can't get it on the Major League package, which is what it is with Yes anyway. So if you're outside of the footprint, you can actually watch the Yankee game. Now, what broadcast you get, that I'm not sure. It could be the Cleveland broadcast, could be our broadcast, but the people that are outside the footprint, Don, I know this was concerning to you. If you're outside the footprint and you have the Major League Baseball package, you could indeed watch it. But Amazon is not allowed on Prime Video to broadcast the streaming outside this footprint. They're just not allowed by Major League Baseball.
According to the statement from the Yankees, they promote the Amazon.com broadcast, the Amazon Prime broadcast, and then said that the ways that you can get it, sign up for a 30-day package, a free trial at Amazon.com/Prime. Out-of-market fans can still watch the game with an MLB.TV subscription. Now, I don't know if that means the extra innings package, because here's the problem. Like, sometimes I heard, like, if it's not available, if they can't pull it off a bird, Michael, then sometimes they can't get it on the package. Like, so I don't know, like, can DirecTV with the MLB extra innings, are they able to get a Prime game and air it? Like, I don't know if they can, but .TV can. So you can get it on MLB.TV. I haven't seen anywhere you can get it on the extra innings package on television, but you can still get it on the computer outside the market.
1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Chris in Rockland. Chris.
Hey, Michael Don Peters. Thanks for taking my call. Big fan. Michael, I just want to say I've watched you since I was a kid. I'm 29 years old, so I've kind of grown up with you, so it's pretty cool to be able to talk to you.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks.
I really just wanted to call because of that caller that was talking about the stances, which I couldn't actually believe I was hearing him say that. You know, I feel like there's such an old school way of thinking, like how today I think analytics has gone too far. I played baseball my whole life. I've gone through college, played baseball, so I understand it a little bit, and I think analytics is way too much. But then you have people with that kind of thinking where, like, Giancarlo Stanton has hit that way his entire life. If I'm going to take little league, tools and things like that and tell it to a player who is a former MVP or Aaron Judge who is a runner-up for an MVP and try to teach them how to hit little league style, then what am I really doing? Like, these guys.
Well, I hear what you're saying, Chris, but I think it's kind of wonderful though, because people care so much, and so people have ideas, and we want them to call in, but those guys have been hitting that way, as you said, forever. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton had a ball that fractured his whole face and still remained with a closed stance, which is an exhibition of bravery I don't think that any of us can even imagine. So, I mean, they hit the way they hit, and right now they're not hitting well. And we're going to talk to Aaron Boone about that in just a moment. Why aren't they hitting well? And my big concern, and I'm going to ask Aaron this, if home runs are down around Major League Baseball, and if it continues this way, is that going to be a problem for the Yankees? And I think it will be, but we'll talk to the Yankee manager in just a moment right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
I wanted to improve my credit score as quickly as possible. Borrowing from Upstart was incredibly simple. The interest rates were incredibly attractive. Going through the process took just a couple of minutes. The approval process was basically instantaneous, and I got the money within a few days. Paying off those credit cards meant a lot. Felt empowering to have control over my own credit destiny. There couldn't be a simpler process for paying off your credit cards.
Nerds. Chloe and Rennie went down the sand dunes.
Need a real adventure? Compare travel credit cards that help you book adventures beyond your backyard. Or compare cashback cards and turn everyday purchases into your next unforgettable experience. Compare your way there. Find the smartest financial products for you on NerdWallet.
Bruh, finally. Have you ever met your sleep? You know your own? Showtime, baby.
Square helps you sell online and in person with tools that connect the dots for you. Sign up at square.com to start selling online right away. Set up a free website or add buy now buttons to your existing site. And get hardware for taking payments in person that sync with your online sales. Go to square.com now to start using the most free tools out there and sell anywhere with all the dots connected. Get started free at square.com.
Sometimes, refueling can feel like a mad dash. At Factor, we get that. You want to do it right, but you also want to do it right away. Because, let's be real, eating well is just one of your goals. Start the new year off right with Factor. It's ready when you are. no matter where you're headed, you can count on Factor. Use code READY120 for up to $120 off.
Take control of your health by boosting your force field, the immune system. With the Aura Ring, you can listen to your body's signals and raise your defenses. Aura tells you when your temperature is higher than normal, how to improve your sleep, or if your heart rate shows signs of stress, so you can decide to push yourself or to lie low. Live smarter, stronger.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's time for today's Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Dos Hombres. And the Pinstripe Report is with Yankee manager Aaron Boone, who joins us every week right here on the show. Aaron, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing okay. Aaron, are you concerned at all by the lack of hitting? Now, I know obviously you think they're going to break out of it because the back of their baseball card says they will. Mm-hmm. But through 13 games, averaging 3 runs a game, are you concerned about that?
Well, I'm concerned because we got to do better than that. We got to get it going. Especially right now when I feel like there's a lot of things we're doing really well right now. Obviously, pitching well. I feel like our defense has played well. We're running the bases, but we gotta start getting it rolling and getting it in gear offensively. One of the things has been we haven't been hitting the long ball at a high rate. Obviously, I think we only hit a couple on the trip, and when you're not doing that, you've got to take advantage of opportunities, and we've had a hard time getting that big hit in different situations. So it's an area we got to pick up, but I'm still very confident. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the lineup now. I feel like DJ's off to a good start. Aaron Judge, I feel pretty certain is going to hit. Giancarlo's going to hit. Donaldson's going to get it going. Riz is off to a pretty good start. So I do feel like we'll get there. It's been tough sledding right now, and we gotta find a way right now when it's tough.
Now, just to piggyback on that, so I don't know if you saw this. Jeff Passan had a story this week on ESPN Plus that said that home runs are down all around Major League Baseball, and they're down so much you can't really think it's going to rebound that much. Does that give you a little pause, Aaron? Because we know this Yankee lineup is built to hit home runs, to score runs, and if the ball is dead or the humidors are doing a job to slow it down, does that worry you that you have to change your approach?
Look, I do look, and I've had some conversations with other managers, about this and that. First of all, pitching right now is really, really tough. There's definitely, I think, I know, obviously a change in the ball starting last year. But, I still attribute a lot of it to the start of the season. Guys pressing a little bit to get rolling. As it heats up, that stuff will improve. I do feel like we have guys that, from a power standpoint, are still built to, hit for power. Even it might hit a couple of our guys a little bit more, but I still think a handful of our guys are still going to be premier power guys. But that said, I do feel like over time we should be a little more versatile in how we create some runs, and I do feel like we have a lineup that should allow us to do that.
Now, with the home runs and trying to hit home runs, Aaron, there are moments where a single can do the job, right? So you look at that bases-loaded situation with Rizzo grounding out to first, and Stanton hit it hard but grounded out to first. Are those situations where you would say, yeah, I'd love a grand slam, that's great, but maybe the approach should just be, hey, just get me a single, because if we can get a single here, we win the game?
Yeah, and I'd love to have that button over there where I could push the get a single button.
But from an approach standpoint, Aaron, I guess.
I know, but that's the problem right now, Don, where when you look at, say our swing decisions in runners in scoring position, because I feel like especially early in the year when it's, you guys, didn't do this with runners in scoring position. What happens is hitting's about really controlling your emotions, and I feel like sometimes we go chasing that single or we go chasing that result, and as a result, our swing decisions aren't as strong. And that's what I'm always worried about, especially early while guys are getting their legs and getting settled into the season. Like, I feel like we want that result so bad. We want to get that hit so bad. And when that happens, you start playing into pitchers' hands, and that gets you in trouble. And I feel like that has actually happened to us. It's not us going up there trying to hit a home run. It's us wanting to get a hit so bad that you get outside and you expand a little bit. And one of our strengths, as much or more than any other team, is our ability to control the strike zone, and that has to happen, especially with runners in scoring position.
Now, this will shock you, Aaron, but I am the voice of reason for fans here. You know, people are going crazy, and I say it's just 13 games. I mean, everybody has to relax. They're one game out of first place. They're 7-6.
Right.
But then Joel Sherman wrote a column in the Post and said, you can think like that. That's one way to think, which is the way I choose to think. Or he said you could look at this as games 163 to games 176 because it's the same story as last year where they didn't hit with runners in scoring position. They didn't score a lot of runs. So does that worry you that this is what the team is?
No. I feel like we have a little bit of a different makeup to our team right now, and you know, hopefully, you know, assuming and hoping for health, you know, I feel like Kiner Falefa is a different kind of player for us, and somebody that's going to thrive, especially towards the bottom of the order. You know, Josh Donaldson, I feel like, is really going to hit for us if he stays healthy and once we get him rolling. Judge and Stanton and Rizzo, I feel like, are going to be who they are. DJ LeMahieu, I think, is in a way better place right now than you know, he probably was at any time last year. So I you know, that said, it's all just, you know, we got to go do it, you know. But I do feel like you know, looking at it optimistically is not unrealistic.
We beat you
Does
up
it
on
ever
this
get
a
tough,
little. I'm sorry.
Aaron?
Go ahead, Peter.
I'm sorry about that, Don. I was going to say, Aaron, I sort of felt for you the other day. When you're in a situation where, you know, Garrett has the kind of night that he has and he just doesn't have it, and you're being pushed on it, does it ever get tough trying to answer that? Because obviously you know he didn't have it, and you know it's going to come around in your mind because he's Garrett Cole, but it's hard to defend a poor performance at times.
Right. Sure, I mean, I get it. It's Garrett, and it's one of the aces in the sport. So, but I do feel like, and I've told people this privately, I feel like he's going to have a really, really good year for us this year. I feel like he's stuff-wise, pitch profile-wise, with his secondary stuff and his fastball, they're all where it needs to be. I feel like he's in a good mental frame that he's going to get through this. I feel like the other night was really wonky. Like, he had a couple long at-bats where he executed pitches where they fouled a pitch off, and then next thing you know, he's at 35, 39 pitches, and he loses the zone and loses command a little bit, and it's just a wonky, weird inning on the heels of two starts where, you know, it didn't go Garrett Cole-like. But I really am confident about where he's at and what he's going to do, and hoping that, you know, it starts this Sunday where he can get on a roll for us.
Is there any evidence at all that the sticky stuff could have any kind of impact on his confidence, on his control? The spin rate might not be a difference, but you just wonder, I think of this with Chapman too, is that when you get used to pitching a certain way and you throw hard, that any kind of loss of confidence can mess it up. Is there any evidence behind that?
I don't think so, and that's why I know I'm, you know, you think I'm perhaps overly optimistic at times, but I do feel in this case, I feel like he's about to pop. I feel like he's in a good spot, and I think everything we're seeing underlying is suggesting that. So it's a matter of him going out. I think he's, you know, probably been a little guilty of probably trying to be a little bit too perfect at times, and that's gotten him into some trouble where he nibbles a little bit, and he doesn't have to, you know, go throw a shutout. You know, he has to go pitch well, and I think once he settles into that, the results will start to fall for him.
See, here's where, you know, I know I'm not too bright. You know I'm not that bright, but so I've seen. Yeah, you didn't have to agree that quickly. So after the sticky stuff was outlawed, right? You look at his ERA, and then you look at his ERA before, and it's a full 2 runs more. But then he had that unbelievable start in Houston where there was no Sicky stuff. So what are we to believe? Why is his ERA a full 2 runs higher since that date when sticky stuff was outlawed?
Well, I think you got to look at it in different snapshots of the season. I think once he got through that, and I think him along with a lot of other pitchers had to make different adjustments, whatever, and we saw him do that, and we saw him go on a really good stretch through that Houston. I think about the Anaheim his start out in Anaheim. I think about a long stretch where he was really good. Then he had a little bit of the hamstring issue that probably impacted him to some degree in the final month of the season. But I think the way he's throwing the ball right now and where his stuff's at. Yeah, look, I really am optimistic about what he's going to do moving forward.
Well, we beat you up on this a little bit on the air, so I'll bring it up to you while you're on. With Judge sitting on Jackie Robinson Day, and I know it's his scheduled day off, but you're a baseball lifer, 3rd-generation baseball guy. Could have more have been done that he's in the lineup on a special day like that?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's fair to raise that. I didn't probably do a good enough job of getting ahead of that. I looked at it simply as I know I want to get them one of these days in this 10. We're coming off that game where we get into Baltimore at 3:30 in the morning, and I was just like, man, today's the day. And then I kind of get to the field that day, and so yeah, it's fair to bring up, and fair to say I could have done it the next day, but I was thinking just in terms of, man, the schedule, the calendar, and that's how I went with it. In hindsight, maybe I adjust to do the day game the second day in.
Trevino starting for the 2nd straight day, Aaron. Is he grabbing a bigger portion of the catching than you thought he would?
Well, he certainly earned it. I wouldn't read into the 2 days in a row. We got a day game tomorrow, and I decided to go with Higgy tomorrow when we're facing a lefty. I want to get Higgy in there. Even though Higgy's off to a slow start, I do feel like offensively speaking, he's a real threat, especially against left-handed pitching. So this was more of me just knowing they're both going to catch tonight and tomorrow afternoon, liking Higgy against the lefty tomorrow. But there's no question Jose has come in here and he's played well in his starts, both behind the plate and given us good at bats. He actually smoked the ball yesterday with runners in scoring position. It's ball about 415 to center, the one place not to go. But he's had good at bats. He's run the bases well for us. He's been really impactful in our room as far as just getting entrenched in the culture and getting to know the pitchers and developing that rapport. I heard great things about him, but he's been terrific in every aspect for us, and he's earned some more opportunities too.
I couldn't agree with you more about LeMahieu. He looks like the first 2 years that he was a Yankee, so he was obviously beaten up last year and played through it. That being said, and we joke around about rest roulette with the lineup coming out every day. Is there a chance you put him as the second baseman, and because Glaber's not producing, can Glaber lose that job?
Well, I mean, look, there's always competition with this, but I still think. Look, we're still in the midst of a 24 games in 26 days, coming off a 3-week spring training. So there's still going to be that day, and for even the guys that we're going to when they're healthy rest the least. So I still think there's tons of playing time, even for guys that maybe lose a little bit here and there.
Did you feel that Torres benefited from those days off?
Torres?
Yeah. He got the day, and then he pinched hit and did well. Do you think that could have been a mental day for him?
No, I don't know. With Glaber, and such as, again, the early part of the season, I really feel like the first week of games, first homestand of games, I felt like his at-bats were good. He didn't get a ton of results. He had a homer in there and got a couple hits. But I thought the at-bats were good. But when you're not getting a ton of results out of that, and then all of a sudden you have a couple games where you struggle, and now the numbers are bad, and you're coming off a couple games where you don't swing it great, it looks like this terrible start. And that's why I always talk about early in the season. The biggest thing is I want guys to get kind of settled and into their season. We're not looking up and it's, you're buried, because then then it just can become more than just playing the game. It becomes kind of fighting through that, and that's where you work hard to get all your guys to that point of just like get settled in the season, get in your routine, and get out of your way and go play the game.
Now, one guy I thought coming into this season, we're talking with Yankee manager Aaron Boone, his weekly segment on the show. I thought, wow, the one guy that really has to get off quickly is Joey Gallo, and it's been the complete opposite of that. And I know early on, I saw all the stats. He hit the ball hard, hitting in bad luck with Babbitt, but now, I mean, there are no extra bases there. Are you concerned that this is going to spiral?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A little bit similar to Glaber there, whereas that first homestand, I feel like he was having good at bats and not getting the results, and then all of a sudden you have a couple games where you really struggle, and now it's on top of not getting those results on a week where you were swinging well, and now all of a sudden that's the story, right? And I certainly get that, and he is one of those guys as much or more than anyone that I want to get settled because the upside is huge with him. It's outstanding defense. It's athletic. It's get on base. It's power, and I do feel like these last several days have been a grind for him, and we got to do our best to kind of get him settled and get him rolling. And but yeah, it's another one of those things early in the season that you try to navigate and try to support guys as much as you can.
Why did the wheel land on Aaron Hicks today to sit out?
Just matchups, and tomorrow we have a day game. Left-handed pitcher tomorrow, so I'm going to want him in there for sure. Aaron is one of those guys that and he's doing well and frustrated, I think, with me that he's not in there today. But he's also another guy that didn't play last year, and we got to be smart about how we build him up too. And so just kind of looking at today's matchup into tomorrow with a lefty going where I know I want him in there, but I don't want to not have him available the day game after the night game. So those kind of things.
Aaron, you were talking about being positive. You kind of joked about it, and you always kind of err on the side of positivity in the post-game press conference. And I guess that's what frustrates the fans because they feel like, well, Aaron's all just, rainbows and unicorns. But is there a time behind the scenes? Is there a moment where there isn't positivity, where there is times where you've got to have a talk with a player or it be more negative, even if it's not shown to the outward public?
Oh, sure. There's private things that happen all the time where you have to get after someone or challenge someone on something. But to say that I'm not, like I am, say, in my press conference, I'm still very positive. This place, it's those pinstripes are heavy sometimes, and I'm very much aware of that. And therefore, I want to make this place look. What I concern myself with is how's our process, how are guys working, what are guys' intent, what are guys' focus, and if all that's there, then I'm not going to, scream and yell at somebody getting a result or not getting a result. It's like, are we doing the things we need to do to try and be successful? Now let's try and create an environment where they can thrive. Because I know, especially early in the season when you're trying to get rolling, it's tough and it's a grind, and you can't. This is a sport, especially when we're talking about hitting, that you get yourself in trouble when you start going up there and want it too bad and try too hard, and I'm going to get the big hit here. Like you're playing into the other team's hands when you get like that. You've got to. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Aaron. I was just going to say, in that vein, do you have memories of being a player and going through stretches like that?
Yeah,
Is there anything people could say to you that helps?
Let me give you a couple of examples, and I've shared this with guys at different points. I've talked to Joey about this. Like I said, hey, I'm a different player than you were, but I had 2 seasons where I got off to 7-8 week starts where I was scuffling so bad offensively, where it was like, this game's so mental and so heady that you got to get to a point to where, and where you don't just say, I don't care about the result. Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, I don't worry about the outside stuff, or I don't care about the result. That's all fine and good. But to genuinely get to that place is a place that I like our guys to get to. It frees you up to go play the game. Like, come in, prepare, put your plan together, work, be ready to go, and then go play between the lines. Don't obsess over the results, because this game will eat you alive, even when you're doing well, because it's a game of failure. Like, you can't obsess on results. You've got to just do your work and then go play the game. And that's, one of the things I try to get our guys to do, especially when it gets noisy and when it's early and you're scuffling to find your level.
Now, fans know you're going to come on today, so some of them sent some questions on Twitter, and one I think is a legitimate one I want to redirect to you from Sebastian H. He said, Boone says guys need to get into routine beginning of season. How do they get into routine when the lineup changes every day?
I mean, how I feel about it. I mean, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Donaldson, Gal. I mean, they've all basically hit the same spot. Stop with that, honestly. I just
I think he meant with the rest.
With
resting.
I mean, these guys have one or two games off, and Michael and Sebastian H. We had a 3-week spring training. Like, April is a month when guys get hurt, typically in our game. Like, to go from playing 2 and 3 games in a row in spring training where you're playing 6, 7, and 8 innings built up, to going out and playing 12 games in a row or 9 games in a row of 3-hour, 3.5-hour, travel now mixed in. Like, that's when people get hurt, and especially when you have guys, and in our case, some guys that are more veteran players that have had a history. Like, I'm going to build them up, and I don't think there's been anything that's affect their rhythm. These guys have played pretty much every day. The regular that sat the most has probably sat 2 days, maybe a third day in 15 days. I mean, that's just reaching for something, man.
But I guess a lot of fans are older fans, Aaron, and this never happened in the old days. I mean, guys played every day. I mean, even the Atlanta Braves, most of the team played over 155 games last year, so that's why it just gets people's attention. These are great athletes, greatest athletes in the world.
Okay, everyone's built a little bit different, and we have a handful of guys that are, in their 30s that have had some injury history. Like, my goal is to have them, to varying degrees, play 130, 140, 150 games. Kiner Falefa's a guy that you kind of let roll a little bit. DJ, when he's healthy, you kind of let roll a little more in that everyday, single day mode. But like, if we look up at the end of the year and our guys are healthy and they've played, pick your guy, 135 starts, 145 starts, 150 starts, I'll be a happy camper, and I feel like the results will be there.
All right, final thing. I don't know how you do it. I know you're compensated to do it. All these questions thrown your way, and you hear it. I mean, you hear the noise, but I could not believe that one human being on this planet questioned you walking Miguel Cabrera yesterday. I mean, we all want to see history, but I almost think you'd be disciplined if you didn't. I mean, you have a lefty on the mound, you have a lefty on deck. Why would you pitch to him?
Well, actually, I think it's more, for me, it was more of a baseball debate. I think there's a debate to say you pitch to him because then, first of all, Lucas is a guy that, we prefer him probably facing a lefty, but it's actually closer with Lucas. He's kind of a more neutral guy, and anytime you walk a guy, and which is why if you look at over my years here, we have not done a lot of intentional walking, because anytime you put a guy on, now you're bringing the on-base element into it and not just getting a hit element into it. But I just felt like the series we're having, Lucas, with his slider, and I felt like the way we were pitching Meadows over those 3 days, I felt like it was the right matchup, and that's why I ultimately did it, understanding the place and time we were in, and and Lucas actually executed the pitch, and Meadows kind of dorks one out there, and that's baseball. But I felt like in the moment it was the right thing to do from a baseball standpoint, which is ultimately my only decision. Even though I understand, like, it felt bigger, it felt heavier. Like, I get it, I get what I'm watching. But actually, the baseball decision itself was actually a lot closer than people might think. It wasn't just the 3,000 thing.
But Aaron Boone can't be concerned about providing a moment of history. I mean, you pitched to him the 3 previous times. You gave him three chances to hit. You didn't pitch around him. I mean, that can't be your concern. I saw people in the business go, that's why. I mean, they don't care about the fans. It's not. You're paid to win games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Michael, I mean, that's right. I mean, you can't get caught up in that. You got to do what you think's right to give you the best chance to win.
Cabrera even understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, did you like the mural they have of you on River Avenue?
I appreciate that text. I was not aware of that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I took a picture of it while I was driving. People were honking at me, but I wanted to send it to you. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Get the picture before it gets graffitied, too. That's always a possibility.
Gosh, you guys got me worked up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. When we talk about rest with you, your blood pressure goes up a little bit.
I mean, they've played all the games, and it's not like just because on a given day they don't start out of 14 days. Like, it's kind of nice to have that guy sitting there, like, for a potential big at bat late in the game too. Like, it's not all terrible.
But here's another question. Like Joe Madden once told me, this is like 15 years ago, he said, if I had any guts and when I rested somebody, I'd tell them to sit in the stands and not even put the uniform and just watch the game. That's a rest. Do you believe it's a rest if the guy pinch hits in the 7th inning?
Yeah.
In a big spot?
I do.
Okay.
Like, I felt like Donaldson got a rest yesterday and pinch hit at a big spot and got us going, and unfortunately we couldn't score him, but yeah, and look, those days do come up over the course of the year too, like where a guy's truly banged up and you're like, man, I'm going to do all I can to stay away from this guy today. We're not at that point in the season. Like, these built-in get a day, but obviously big spot late, they're going to be in play.
Good luck tonight. Have a great weekend.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys. All right, guys.
All right. That's the Pinstripe Report. Aaron Boone, brought to you by Dos Hombres. Crafted with care, a spirit like no other, the perfect mezcal ever tasted, a unique blend of the finest Espadín agave, made in a small village in Mexico, Dos Hombres. All right, so I have all of the absolute correct information on tonight's broadcast on Prime Video. Everything. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to use it as a tease, and I'll tell you exactly what the deal is, and I'll give you a little bit of a tease. It's no different than any other day outside the footprint of this area. On TV. All right? Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get back right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
Fix things fast with Thumbtack. You're finally the king of your own castle, and it feels pretty great. But your castle has leaks, which feels like this. And you need an electrician, because wires are scary. And then there's the ants. So you use Thumbtack to find who you need. You can check out reviews, prices, and book your favorite pros in the app. Anytime something breaks, you can get it fixed fast. It's good to be king. Find pros for any home project. Download Thumbtack today.
Custom shirts help people feel like they're part of a team. My name is Timothy Chi, and I'm the CEO of Wedding Art. We're very proud customers of Custom Ink. We keep coming back to Custom Ink because of the quality of the product, the customer service, and the ease of use. That moment you walk in the office and people are wearing the same gear, you feel a sense of connectedness and belonging right away. And our shirts from Custom Ink help bring us together.
Custom Ink has hundreds of products to help you feel connected. Upload your logo or start your design today at customink.com.
It's not about where the road takes you. It's about
Could you scooch up, please?
Who are you?
I'm with Edmunds. Legroom is one of the many features we evaluate to help folks find the car that's right for them. You know, stuff real people care about.
I'm a real person.
Sure you are.
Can I still smolder?
Yeah, just smolder with your seat up.
For unbiased research, reviews, and industry expertise, go to Edmunds First. We drive it like it is.
Your favorite brands, jaw-dropping prices, endless deals to choose from. Welcome to ThreadUp, an online consignment and thrift store for your closet, your wallet, and the planet. Shop over 35,000 brands from Gap to Gucci, with new arrivals dropping every single day, all at up to 90% off estimated retail and delivered to your door. Giving perfectly good clothes a second life has never been easier or more fun. Have more, waste less. Start shopping at threadup.com.
If you haven't booked travel through Hopper, you missing out.
Whether it's for flights, car rentals, hotels, you know that you're getting a great slamming deal.
Not only do they have the lowest prices, but they also predict future prices with 95% accuracy and tell you exactly when to book so that you save the most money. And they give you $10 off your first hotel booking just for downloading the app.
That's the ball. It's free.
Download the Hopper app right now and start saving on travel.
That feeling when it's actually fashion. The fit is finally right, and anything is possible. Find that feeling at Eloquii.
Sunday Lawn Care. Cut! Hey, Woodland Creatures! Too soon. Run it back. Okay, take two. Sunday grows green grass and is delivered to your door. Ooh, careful. And every lawn plant is customized for your yard. Can we bump that type up? That's better.
What is that?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go for two. We're going for two. And 22. Ready to repeat. Let's go.
Chris Sheeran back here in our Yes Network studios. The Yankees returning home is brought to you by Montefiore, state-of-the-art healthcare in New York City, Westchester, and the Hudson Valley. After taking 2 of 3 against the Tigers out in Detroit and going 3-3 on their first road trip of the season, tonight the Yanks begin a 3-game set against Cleveland. Towing the slab before the Bombers will be Jameson Taillon. Although he is still looking for his first win, he has pitched well coming back from ankle surgery after last season. He's allowed 8 hits and 4 earned runs in nearly 10 innings over 2 starts. He took the loss against the Blue Jays in his first outing, then a no decision down in Baltimore. Tonight, he faces a Cleveland squad that is 22nd in batting average, 27th in on-base percentage, 16th in slugging, and 21st in OPS. Tonight's game is on Prime Video. The coverage starts on Yes at 6:30 with the pregame show, followed by first pitch a little after 7. It's the Yankees and Cleveland. Tonight, coverage starting at 6:30 on Yes with the game on Prime Video. And, of course, full postgame coverage will be back on Yes after the final out.
Let's make this official, everybody. So the Yankees-Guardians game tonight is going to be on Prime Video, and that's where that's how you could watch it in the footprint that the Yankees have in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and greater parts of Pennsylvania. Prime Video only. But out of market, absolutely nothing has changed. Nothing. If you want to see the game on MLB.TV and MLB at Bat Extra Innings, you could do it just like you do tomorrow's game, which is on Yes. Nothing has changed other than in the footprint here in the tri-state area and parts of Pennsylvania. That's where you have to have Prime Video to watch tonight's game. So those that are out of market, like the guy called and said, it's inaccurate information. If you watch the Yankees out of market the way you usually watch them out of market, you can do it again tonight. Nothing has changed in that at all. You'll be fine.
The only thing I'm noticing here, because I have the MLB Extra Innings. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm in New York, but I'm not seeing a channel for the Yankee broadcast on Extra Innings.
And you're in the footprint. Well, the only way you could watch it is in the footprint. In this footprint is
right. No, normally it would be blacked out, but the channel would still be listed. I'm going to see if they have the Mets broadcast listed on my guide, because it has the Indians broadcast, but not the Yankees broadcast.
Right.
And it's giving me the Mets broadcast. Now, when I turn it on, when the game starts, it'll be blacked out. So I do,
which is what would happen if the game was on Yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there is no Yankee broadcast on Extra Innings tonight, just the Indians broadcast.
Right. Because the only way you could watch the Yankee broadcast in this footprint is on Prime Video. Let's go back to the phones. Vinny in Old Bridge. Vinny.
How you doing, Michael?
Good. How are you?
Okay. I was just wondering about Aaron Boone. I just heard his conversation. I've been a longtime Yankee fan. I'm 68 years old. I've been a Yankee fan for 60 years. I want to compliment you on your thoroughness every day in, day out on the Yankees and your knowledge. I think you do a great job. I love Peter. I love Don. Okay,
Thanks.
Now, I want to ask you a question. Why is Aaron Boone the manager of the Yankees? What are his qualifications that he got hired?
Well, he's a great communicator. He has a great rapport with the players. He is all in on the analytics. He believes in that. He believes that's the way to manage the team. That's what they were looking for. He's young. He can relate to the players as well. He's not that far removed from being a player. And, I mean, what's any manager's qualifications? And what was Joe Girardi's qualifications?
Well, Joe Girardi,
I mean, people,
he was a good manager. He was a Rookie of the Year manager with the
right,
Marlins.
but what were his qualifications when he got the job at the Marlins?
Right. Yeah.
So
well,
somebody has to see something in you.
They played 500 baseball, and they had the lowest salary in baseball.
Vinny, you do realize though that in the 4 years that Aaron Boone's been the manager, I think he's fourth or fifth in Major League history for most wins.
Yeah, but Michael, now realistically, I know you know a lot about baseball. Now, in my opinion, anybody could have did what Aaron Boone did.
See, but Vinny, then I can't help you. If you think anybody could do what he did, well, I can't help you then. So I mean, you're asking me to prove a negative. What do you want me to do? If you think that Peter could leave his apartment in Manhattan and have managed the Yankees to all those wins over the last 4 years, I don't have a reply for you. I don't know what to say. So you just don't like Aaron Boone.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't like the cut of his jib. Because I'm just trying to. What had Don Mattingly proven before managing? What is? Besides the fact that the Yankees had experience with him personally, and the Steinbrenner family probably liked him. You know that there was a personal rapport. Isn't that what's the qualifications from being a former player to becoming a manager?
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, listen, if you want to make the argument, you could make this argument. You might say, and this, Don, this is the argument that they want to make. We're the New York Yankees. We don't get first-time managers. You go to the Marlins first. You go to the Rays first. You go somewhere else. Then you end up with the Yankees. If you want to go with the holier-than-thou Yankee vibe, I could hear that. But ultimately, someone's got to give someone a shot.
But here, especially the old school guys, and we have this conversation. It's over and over, but I guess it continues to have to be said. It's a difference in philosophy, all right? So you don't think he's a good manager because he's not managing the way that Billy Martin did, the way that Bob Lemon did, the way that Lou Piniella did, the way that Casey Stengel did, right? Because it's different. But that's the Yankees' philosophy. It doesn't mean that he's unqualified. He's very qualified for today's baseball. Now, in 1980, Aaron Boone would not be qualified to be a manager because they never gave players of that ilk a managerial job without like going somewhere or being an assistant coach somewhere. But it's a different world now. How much of has Alex Cora had? How much has Dave Roberts had? I guess he was an interim manager in San Diego for like 5 minutes when Bud Black got fired, but it was pretty much his first attempt as a manager with the Dodgers. How has he done? Winning a World Series and having that team win a division every single year. It's just a different philosophy. You may not like the philosophy. I don't really dig it either, to be honest with you, but doesn't make him less qualified because it's not the way you would run the team.
Let's go to Al in Cranford. Al.
What's going on, guys? God, I love the cut of Peter's jib, but hey, I've been a fan since 1948. Sorry, I'm a year late.
That's all right. You joined us late.
I just wanted to say, especially to Vinny, the last caller, you got to shut out these doubters. How can you hate this guy that we just heard? He was nearly waterboarded with these questions, rightfully so, but he was so honest. He was so organic with his answers, knowledgeable, provided sustenance. You can't hate him. He was right. He was the right choice. Team is still figuring it out. I mean, just like Aaron Rodgers, you got to relax, take it easy.
I like Al.
I think
Al,
you know what
like
it is, Al. Here's what it is, Al.
Yeah, I like
the bottom line. The bottom line is Yankee fans feel it's a failure unless they win a World Series, and he has not won a World Series. That's it. I mean, they wouldn't care if he did all this resting and the team sat back and waited for home runs if they won a World Series. So they question that. I say he can only manage the people that he can manage that the front office gives him. He can't make Joey Gallo into a 290 hitter. It's not his job.
Yep. And no call and no question is going to make him change the way he thinks and the way the Yankees think is the best way to win baseball games. And he's getting frustrated with it, Michael, because he doesn't think it's a big deal. It bothers us that these guys don't play every day, but he disagreed. I mean, how do you sit there and argue with somebody when you have your two different sides of the argument? I can't convince him otherwise, and he can't convince us. The one thing he did admit was about Judge not playing on Jackie Robinson Day. And that's fine. But otherwise, it's just a difference of philosophy. But you know what? He answered the questions. He was genuine about it. Peter and Michael, how many times we've had managers on? They're reading from a script. They don't give you nothing. They talk in circles. This guy is genuine. You may not agree with it, but he's giving you genuine answers. He's interesting, fun to talk to. He's got a great personality. If I were a Yankee fan, I'd love this guy to be my manager. I would.
Let's put it this way. And I don't think fans care about this. All right? If you meet Aaron Boone and you spoke to him for an hour, there's no way you would dislike him. He's just that kind of guy. And that doesn't mean he's a great manager, but he has won more games than most anyone who's ever managed in the first 4 years of his career.
But
Don, I was just going to say, I also feel like you mentioned the question specifically about Aaron Judge and Jackie Robinson Day. And yeah, he didn't. He essentially was honest about not necessarily. He's not sure he got that right, and I actually respect that. And I really, the last caller, who was a gentleman and a scholar, I thought he made a great point. Like, how can you hear him? And by the way, this is only our third one. He gets better every week, right? How can you hear someone who answers honestly without nonsense speak and has real conversation to me and not like the guy? To me, it's like, do you guys listen to other coaches talk across all four major sports? They say nothing with any heart or any sort of reality. I don't see how you walk away not liking Boone. I don't.
All right, let's take a brief time out because we're up against. We have two straight guests coming up. Next up is Jim Codd, Hall of Famer. Then after that, the Jets GM Joe Douglas. So stick around right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Get that rhythm up.
Woo! Come on, you got it.
Good.
Come on, woo! You did that.
Shop now at hydro.com. At Titan, our goal is to give you access to the best investment experience in the world, but without the high minimums, lockups, or performance fees. We invest our clients' capital in our award-winning investment strategies and deliver daily research updates via the Titan app. Our experts perform hundreds of hours of deep, fundamental, and quantitative research on every investment we make. We manage hundreds of millions of dollars for tens of thousands of clients and counting. We hope to welcome you to Titan soon. Download our app to get invested.
Your most life-changing sleep is about what's underneath. This is a Casper mattress. Inside, precisely 1,501 perforations create a cooling system so effective, you won't be awake to notice. Only Casper mattresses are made with 86 supportive gel pods to align your spine and eliminate aches and pains. It's the cooling, supportive comfort you need for the most refreshed feeling each morning. Only on a Casper mattress. Only at Casper.com.
And don't forget to floss before you brush. Your gums will thank you.
That's right, Dr. Gary.
Jamie?
Sorry, I had another thought, so I got back in line.
What was it?
I can't remember.
Now on the Yes app.
Come on down.
Stream the Season 2 premiere of Home Plate New York.
Like I said, I deliver.
As actor and native New Yorker Luis Guzman goes back to his roots.
Let's go. Kitchen's that way. I'm gonna just make it nice and spicy.
Home Plate New York. Streaming now, exclusively on the Yes app.
Marina has a rare form of children's eye cancer, retinoblastoma. Her doctor sent us to a specialist, and then the specialist sent us to St. Jude. Within the first couple weeks of us getting here, I was just so scared. Like, I think the reality just hit me, and it kind of hit me all at once. I had started to cry, and I was just so scared, filled with fear. And her doctor came in, Dr. Brennan came in, and just didn't even say anything, sat down beside me, and hugged me and held me while I was literally sobbing. And she just said, "It's gonna be okay. We don't have to worry anymore. The treatment worked and we've saved her eye." This place has been such a blessing for us. There's no way we could have paid for treatment back home if we had to. We can come here and we can just solely focus on taking care of her and helping her heal.
With Home Chef, you're not just home cooking, you're home acing it. Our convenient options are ready in as little as 15 minutes and way quicker than takeout. When it comes to making dinner, fill in the blanks with Home Chef. Delicious, meat simple.
Get 16 free meals when you sign up at homechef.com.
Have you taken a body blow at work? If so, it's good to know that the lawyers at Pasternak Tilker are in your corner, ready to get you back in the ring. Whether you have a workers' compensation claim, a personal injury case, or a Social Security disability claim, Pasternak Tilker will fight for you, tooth and nail. Call them today at 888-208-7632.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
In this town, you've got to make your own way. Here we learn from our losses and we work to earn what we know in our hearts to be ours. Representing the greatest city in the world everywhere we go. Because we are New York City. Together, we are undeniable.
Now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen, 400 horsepower and an Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
We all know a hero. It could be a teacher, a grandparent, a coach. And now Hyundai wants to thank them with a 2022 Hyundai Tucson. To nominate your hero, visit HyundaiSaluteToHeroesNY.com and tell us why they deserve special recognition, because heroes make everyone's journey better.
Well, it's time for Diamond Notes, brought to you by 2 by London, the engagement shop at London Jewelers. And the Diamond Notes today involve Jim Cott and his new book, Good as Gold, My 8 Decades in Baseball. Now, tonight at 6 p.m., you can meet Jim, the author of Good as Gold, at Bookends Bookstore, a great bookstore, 211 East Ridgewood Avenue in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And the Hall of Famer, Jim Cott, joins us now. Jim, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. Does it ever get old hearing somebody say the Hall of Famer, Jim Cott?
I'll tell you what, Michael, I have to, sometimes I wonder, is this really happening? Is this just a joke? But, yeah, when Tony Russo told me, we talked after the call, when you hear the voice say, this is Jane Clark from the National Baseball Hall of Fame, your life changes in a heartbeat, and for the better. And it's just been so exciting these last 4 months, and it keeps getting better because, you know, my friend Tony Oliva, teammate, we've spending time together now with the Twins and going in together. That's very special.
And I got your book. I can't wait to read it, and it's got such an appropriate name, you know, Good as Gold, because of all the gold gloves you won. How much pride did you take in your defense?
Well, you know, my boyhood idol, Bobby Shantz, who was hoping to come to the induction, he's 96. He's not moving around as well as you might imagine. But, you know, back when baseball was a radio game, I would listen to when the White Sox played Philadelphia, and I'd hear him describe Bobby's motion, lands on the balls of his feet. He can go left, he can go right. He's ready for a ball hit back at him. So I went out and mimicked Bobby's motion. And when I got to spring training my first year, the coach said, hey, kid, you look just like Bobby Shantz. Now, I may have then, but Bobby's 5'6", I'm 6'5", but I modeled my motion after him, and I really credit him for inspiring me to know that fielding your position is important.
Now, you've gone into your 8th decade in baseball. Jim, when your career ended, your playing career, did you think you'd be in it this long? Did you think that you would find such a niche as a broadcaster?
Not at all. I mean, I'm so fortunate that, you know, Pete asked me to be a coach for him, which I did. And, you know, in the years early on in the 60s when you had to work in the off season, I did high school basketball and football, and guys like Ray Scott and Merle Harmon would critique my tapes. Man, I cringe when I think of what they thought of my tapes doing basketball. But you know, I had a little history in it, and then, you know, you never think your career is going to end, but, you know, I just kind of fell into that from when they had rain delays. They used to call a player up to visit, and Jody Shapiro, who later ran the Home Team Sports Network, was with Major League Films, and he said, you ought to look at this for a career. So my first games really were during the 81 strike when I went to Rochester and worked with Ralph Kiner and Warner Fusel. Cal Ripken was the shortstop then for Rochester, and then doing some college games for ESPN with Sam Rosen, and then it just kind of evolved into something like Jack Buck had said to me when I thought he was giving me some sage advice. He called me over in a corner. He said, look, don't ever tell them how easy it is. Just smile and cash the checks. So I was so lucky to get help from a lot of people along the way.
You know, when you were getting the starts in the beginning of your career, I see a couple of times you threw over 300 innings consistently over, you know, 220, 230 innings, Jim, and now you cover the sport over the last few years, and starters are barely getting 200 innings, and yet they're still getting hurt. Why do you think things have changed so much with the stamina of these pitchers and the fragility of these pitchers?
Well, I think it's the training. You know, Jack McKeon is going to come to my induction, hopefully, at 83. We all hope we're going to be there. And Jack was my playing manager. He was 27. I was 19. He's now 91. And, you know, he would walk out to the mound, 6th inning, couple men on, spit a little tobacco juice on my shoes and say, well, kid, figure out how to get out of it. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But, you know, pitching 225, 30 innings in a Class C league when you're 19, you build up a good foundation. I feel bad for the guys today because they got so much more ability than we had. There's no reason, if trained properly, things that I learned from Warren Spahn and Eddie Lopat and Johnny Sain, that we could see Scherzer against Kershaw in the 9th inning like we used to see Allie Reynolds and Bob Feller for your old-time Yankee fans. And it's the way they're trained, and it's simply that. And the more they hothouse them and the more they keep the pitches down, the less their legs are supporting them, and the more injuries happen. And that's why we're seeing more injury. It's not really the arm as much as it is the legs that you need for your endurance to go 9 innings.
Now, Jim Kaat is our guest. Jim, you don't need to be reminded, you're 83 years old, but you're about as hip an 83-year-old as I know. You're not one of those get-off-my-lawn sort of guys. But do you like the way the game has become?
Not at all. I'm glad to see that the pitch clock seems to be working in the minor leagues.
Yep.
I've mentioned this quite often, that we may come to the point where in spring training, my first spring in '58, we played inter-squad games. 3 balls, you walk, 2 strikes, you're out. So I've said this many times to executives in baseball. It might be time for 7-inning games, soften the ball, 3 balls, you walk, 2 strikes, you're out. It'll never happen, obviously. But I just think I don't like the fact that the game is not what I played for the '82 Cardinals. We won the World Series. They're going to honor us this year, a 40-year anniversary. But that was the last exciting team when we hit 67 home runs as a team and played baseball the way I learned baseball. The '98 Yankee team, I think, was the best all-around team that I've seen in my baseball and broadcasting career in the last 30, 40 years. And Michael, you know about that team, but no, I don't like the way the game is played today.
283 wins, Jim. You're in the Hall of Fame, so the 300 wouldn't have mattered, but I'm sure it does to you. Do you ever think back all those one-run games where the bullpen blew it for you, or certain moments, and if you could get those 17 and get to 300, do you ever think about that?
I really don't, because that never was a goal of mine. If it happened, it happened. But where I started 10 games in, I think, 80 and 81, I had 6 complete games. I was rolling along pretty good as a starter. I was 41 years old, and Whitey called me in. Whitey Herzog said, "I'm going to build my staff from the 9th inning back. I want you to be my lefty guy." So I said, fine. So, even though I wanted to start, but being a part of that team, that was my top thrill in baseball, my 24th full season. And there's no professional player who has played as long in any professional sport before getting a championship ring, 24 years. Mm-hmm. And so it was well worth being a relief pitcher and sort of a part-time contributor on that team to end up with a World Series ring.
Well, Jim Kaat's new book is Good as Gold, My 8 Decades in Baseball. And remember, tonight at 6 p.m. you could meet Jim at Bookends Bookstore, 211 East Ridgewood Avenue in Ridgewood, New Jersey. It's a great bookstore, and you'll love meeting Jim Kaat. Jim, good luck with the book, and congratulations again on the Hall of Fame.
Thanks so much, guys. Enjoyed it. Take care.
Thanks, got it. Jim. That is Jim Kaat, really a marvel that he's able to do what he does and still have the enthusiasm for the game. So those are Diamond Notes, brought to you by 2 by London, the engagement shop by London Jewelers. Picker designed the perfect engagement ring to fit every budget at any of their 6 area locations. Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets. Draft is coming up on Thursday. A lot of questions for him, so stay right here. Joe Douglas joins us next on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
There is a palpable tension here at the ballpark. You wonder, as he stands on deck, is he thinking about 3,000? Is he thinking we're down 1-0? Derek got his first hit on May 30th of 1995. 17 years later, we stand at the precipice of history. 27 men have picked up 3,000 hits. Derek trying to become number 28. Derek, born in New Jersey as a youngster, the family moved to Kalamazoo, and he wanted to do one thing, play for the Yankees. The 3-2. That one's drilled deep to left field. Going back, Joyce, looking up. See ya! 3,000. History with an X Exclamation point! Oh, what a way to join the 3,000 hit club. Derek Jeter has done it in grand style.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide.
It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
At Domino's, you can get more than just your favorite pizza. You can get specialty chicken, savory pastas, oven-baked Parmesan bread bites, molten lava crunch cakes, and yes, medium 2-topping pizzas as well. Carry out any 2 or more mix-and-match items for $5.99 each or get them delivered for $6.99 each.
What are you recommending for muscle pain?
Based on clinical data, I recommend Salonpas.
Agreed. My patients like these patches because they work up to 12 hours, even on moderate pain.
Salonpas, it's good medicine.
You could pick from hundreds of law firms for your mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer case, but would you be confident that you made the best choice? Whites & Luxembourg is the firm that has represented more asbestos disease clients than any other firm in the metropolitan area. With 30 years' experience, they have New York's highest recorded asbestos verdicts of all time. The choice is clear, and the stakes could not be higher.
Whites & Luxembourg has our backs.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today.
Call 1-888-411-LAWS. That's 1-888-411-LAWS.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made, including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. For every pair of glasses or sunglasses sold, a pair of glasses is distributed to someone in need. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
It's one thing to build a truck. It's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
All right, the NFL draft is coming up next week. Starts on Thursday. So we thought it'd be a great time to talk to the general manager of your New York Jets, Joe Douglas. And he joins us right now. Joe, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. How are you doing?
Great, guys. How you doing? Happy Friday,
We're doing great.
everybody.
So rather than, same thing to you. Rather than go through all the questions, just tell us who you're picking with 4 and 10, and we'll get this over with quickly. You can go to dinner.
Yeah, make it real quick. Now you guys got to tune in for that one next week.
All right. So let me ask you this, because there's only so much you could say. Would you be willing to trade the 10th pick in the first round for an available wide receiver that you deem a game changer?
Look, I think. I would say this: if the right opportunity presents itself, we'd be willing to talk about any scenario. If it was the right situation, right player, we'd be willing to discuss any scenario.
Now, obviously, trying to get weapons for your maturing quarterback has to be, number one. So, can you do that through the draft, Joe, or would you prefer to find a veteran, kind of what Stephon Diggs was able to do for Allen in Buffalo, to make sure that your quarterback's got some weapons to grow?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think what we are trying to do is help a young quarterback develop the best way that we can. And different teams do it in different ways. I think when you look in Buffalo, they did it. They did that trade. It ended up being a great trade after Josh's third year. So I do think in a perfect world, look, you hit the ground running with a proven player that can help your team, help your quarterback. But at the same time, we've got a really young team, and we're all growing together. And this is a really good draft, and we have a unique opportunity here with picks 4, 10, 35, and 38 to find 4 impact players for our team, and that can grow with last year's class and the year before that, and really ascend together.
Joe, do you
I keep
see
reading. I'm sorry, Peter. You go.
No, I apologize for the delay. Joe, I was just going to say, do you, as a fan on the outside looking in, we think about these available guys like a Deebo Samuel, and to me, it's very appealing because ultimately with a high draft pick, you're hoping to score a player that good. As a GM, do you view finding, a really special offensive player in the draft as incredibly difficult? And also, do you consider the wide receiver position in particular one where you need to give it time to develop to someone who's at the level of a Deebo Samuel?
Well, I think different players develop at different rates. I think you've seen recently, especially at the wideout position, it used to be back when I first started in the league, wideouts were historically a position that needed time. A lot of these guys were coming out of colleges that frankly didn't throw the ball that much. Your wishbone offenses, run first offenses. I think with the inception, and I think I saw today that Brandon Beane in his presser talked a little bit about this too. It's just a different era of football where skill positions are being highlighted at a younger age. Offenses are throwing the ball at a younger age in Pee Wee football and up. So these skill guys are coming into the league a little bit more sophisticated and pro-ready than they were 10, 15 years ago. So I think it used to be the defensive players were the guys and running backs were the guys that could come in and as rookies and be impact players. But I do think you're seeing wide receivers, tight ends coming in and making impacts earlier.
Joe, I keep reading that this is a deep wide receiver draft. You've looked at everybody, I'm sure. Do you agree that this is a draft where you could get difference makers at wide receiver, maybe even in the second round?
No, I think this is a deep draft at multiple positions, but certainly at wide receiver. I felt like really the 2 drafts leading up to this one, the same could be said. I think, and that kind of goes to the last question and answer. I think wide receivers every year, you're going to see a bigger clump of wide receivers that teams, bigger group of wide receivers that teams feel can come in and maybe contribute earlier.
Have you prioritized like your need for what you want at 4 and 10, or are you still that philosophy, best available player?
No, I mean we're best player available. What we do, and it started a long time ago. But last week we had a great week with our coaches and our scouts, and we all get in the draft room and we hash out opinion. Everyone has their own ranking. Everybody has their own opinion. We go through the process, and then this week, we get together with our coordinators, with our top lieutenants personnel. We make sure that we have our top 10 really ironed out, and these are the 10 best football players for the New York Jets. So that's how we're gonna set our board and follow the board come next Thursday night.
I've always wondered about that, Joe. Not that I'm saying that it's not true. When people say I'm going to take the best available player, well, you have the 4th pick. Let's say at the number 4, and I'm not saying how your board is located, but let's say Kenny Pickett's the best player. You're not going to pick Kenny Pickett.
Well, I think it's a great point, Michael, because I think when every team sets their board, the secret to it is they set the board for their team, and so when we put the top 10, the top 38 players, we're putting the best 38 players for our team, for our roster, for our culture, for what we're trying to build. I think it's safe to say, I don't think this is breaking news. We're not going to be taking a quarterback at pick 4 this year, but
right.
We are going to have a strong group of 10 players that if we stay at 4 and 10, we're going to be really excited about adding to the team.
Would you shy away at 4? Again, it could be the best available player for an offensive lineman. That would be 3 in 3 years, and there might not even be the starting spot for that player if you take him.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're always we believe in the line of scrimmage, as cliche as that may be. We still think that games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage, and part of developing your quarterback is making sure that he's healthy and he's on his feet. So while it may not be a position that comes out the gate right away, it's still a very important position. And we've got to look at not just this year, but years 2023, 2024, what our depth chart looks like. And so O-line and D-line are obviously really important positions for us.
How do you feel about Becton coming into this year?
Feel great. He's down in Dallas. He's working hard. He's rehabbing. He's working out with Duke Manyweather. I know Duke runs a great program down there in Dallas for the offensive linemen, and he's getting ready to welcome a newborn with his girlfriend. And so we've been checking in with him, checking in with his medical team, making sure that everything's going well in his progression back, and looking forward to him getting back on the field, doing good things.
Now, I know it's voluntary. I mean, it has to be said, it's voluntary. But the fact that there's questions about his health and everything, although you have been conferring with doctors, are you a little disappointed he's not there or wasn't there?
Look, I mean, the main thing, and you hit the nail on the head, is this is a voluntary deal, and of course, every coach, every person, part of the team would love 100% attendance, but no, I think the communication has been strong. I feel like it's not like we don't know what the heck's going on with Mekhi in Dallas. We feel good about his progression and where he's at, and can't wait to get him back on the field.
There's nothing you can do about this, Joe, but I almost feel bad just in the sense that you look at your division, right? You've got Josh Allen. Now Russell Wilson joins the conference. So how much pressure is on your young quarterback to keep up with the Joneses when there's just so much competition at the quarterback position in your conference?
Right. I mean, it's not just the division; it's the entire conference. Like you said, there's a big uptick in the talent acquisition and the players added to the division and the conference. So, look, I mean, Zach can't worry about the other quarterbacks in the conference. He's got to, again, it sounds cliche, he just has to worry about himself, and he just has to worry about getting better, one meeting at a time, one practice at a time. And really that goes not only for Zach, but for all of our young players and all of our new additions. And it's fun because we started OTAs this week, and it's good to see all the players out there working out, competing, building some camaraderie and chemistry, and this is a really good time to do that while the spotlight's not on you.
Joe, we had a conversation the other day about, when everyone was speculating, could Debo come to the Jets? Would that work? And a couple of Jets fans got upset because we said, truth be told, it's hard to picture a very imaginative Jets offense utilizing someone like Debo the way he was utilized under Shanahan. Do you think that's an unfair assessment that about the Jets offense, or is sort of making things a little bit flashier, a little bit different, something you plan on doing in the future with this team?
Look, I mean, I think you see from the staff that we added last year, they have a lot of knowledge of this particular offense, and so it's our job and personnel to provide the staff with difference makers and guys that maybe can create a more creative aspect to this offense. And with this coaching staff being in year two, all these young players being in year two, I think there's a sense of guys knowing exactly what to expect. Not only coaches from players, but players from coaches. And so I think there's a real comfort level with our players now, with the scheme, with our coaches, with the players in the meeting rooms. And so I think the guys are really going to mesh well together and do strong things.
Jets General Manager Joe Douglas is our guest here on the Michael Kay Show. Help me through this. I know being a GM is tough. It's not an easy job, whichever way you want to view it. But why do GMs, Joe, always seem, I mean, I shouldn't say every single time, but for the majority of the time, there's a disgruntled player who says he wants to get traded, they trade him. Why doesn't a GM ever say, you're staying right here, because if you don't play for us, you're not going to play for anybody?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, we had a similar situation. We had that situation happen a few years ago. I think it got to the point with us. I think every situation is different. In our situation with Jamal, it was a team stepped up, made a really strong offer, and we felt it was the best thing to do for the team. But at the same time, if you don't receive the offer you're looking for, you're prepared to do what you have to do, from a business perspective, and protect the team that way as well. So I think every situation is different.
Does Seattle pick up your phone calls? I mean, because you just completely took them to the woodshed on that trade.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, Jamal went there, had a great season. First of all, I mean, I have so much respect for John Schneider and Pete Carroll. And look, they went to the playoffs. They won the division, if I remember correctly, and had a great year. I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting their quarterback to go down or have a season that they have, because they've been one of the best and most consistent teams in the NFL over the last 10, 15 years. But John is. Look, I mean, John's been the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks for well over 10 years. He's, I think he's one of the best, if not the best, general managers in the National Football League, and I love spending time with him, talking with him, and really trying to pick his brain for knowledge whenever I can.
Do you like the corners in this draft, Joe?
I think it's a strong group. I think you saw last year in last year's class. There were a few guys that went high, but there were also a nice handful of corners that came in and had strong years that were maybe taken later in the first, into the second and third. I think it's going to be similar in that regard. I think you're going to have a couple. It's strong at the top, and then there's still a group of about 4 to 6 corners that are going to come in and be really strong contributors and help teams win games.
You mentioned you have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. Joe, if you ended up selecting a player at every single one of them, would you be satisfied, or are you looking to wheel and deal?
I mean, look, we're always going to answer the phone call, right? And if there's an opportunity, whether there's someone that's fallen that we're really excited about maybe pursuing, or an opportunity to maybe pick up some extra picks for next year's draft. Look, I mean, if the situation presents itself, I think when we get into these strategy meetings with everyone and hash out different scenarios, those are really the things that we're talking about. And there's obviously, having these 9 picks in the first 5 rounds, there's a lot of different rabbit holes that we can go down in terms of scenarios, and it's been fun getting with Coach Sal and his staff and Rex and all the personnel guys and going through those scenarios.
How close do you think you were to Hill? Did you believe you were going to get him when you made that offer? Or did you think you were kind of... I thought you were getting used a little bit because I thought he was always going to go to Miami, but did you think it was realistic when you did it?
No, we thought we had a realistic shot. I mean, that's why we made the deal, and ultimately we didn't get it done. We didn't get it worked out. But look, I mean, it was a player that we felt could come in and help our team, a dangerous player, and one of the better wide receivers in the league, and ultimately we didn't get the job done, and so if we got together afterwards, we talked about some things that maybe we could have done better, but look, we thought we were in it.
Joe, direct question. From what you saw of Zach Wilson, from the untrained eye, he looked okay, but do you see greatness there still?
Well, I think I 100% see greatness, and I see a young quarterback that really went through the ringer to start the year, and I think what was most encouraging about Zach was when he came back. I think he maybe had 1 turnover in the last 6 games. He was taking care of the football. He was playing within the scheme. You really saw him take a step within the season after going through a lot of adversity early, getting injured, coming back, not having our top two receivers in Corey and Elijah, and playing with a lot of backups at the skill position, but still executing the offense at a high level. And so seeing his resiliency, his perseverance through that, and keeping it all together, it gives you a lot of hope.
So what beyond the wins and losses, because not all of it's in the control of the quarterback, will you look for to see that he's taken that big step in year two?
Well, I think we're already seeing. I think the first thing was his nice little world tour around working out with teammates and building that camaraderie with the skill guys in the off season, and now having all these guys here working out with him in OTAs. This is where that next step starts, and building that chemistry, building that camaraderie, and so Zach can read the body language of every single one of his receivers, know exactly when they're getting in and out of breaks, so he knows when to deliver the ball. So it becomes clockwork. So it becomes like breathing. You do it so much you don't even realize you're doing it. So I think building that right now with the guys and taking it into training camp, that's how he's going to take the next step, and also his skill guys.
All right, final question, Joe, and this is serious. When you're leading up, this is such a big part of a team, taking that next step. Do you sleep at all in the weeks leading up to this? I mean, do you get any sleep or rest at all?
There hasn't been a ton. I usually I come home late, pop on maybe I'm still kind of wired from watching tape or a discussion that we had, and maybe watch a quick show late night before I try to get some sleep. But there's not a ton of not going to be a ton of rest and relaxation until we get to Saturday night and the Hayes in the barn on this draft. But it's a great process, and I can't say enough about the hard work and effort that not only the coaching staff has done, but also our personnel and scouting staff. I mean, and how they've been coming together and working together. It's been a great few months.
Curious, what's a quick show you watch before you go to bed?
So I've been I'll get home, throw on HBO Max. I just finished season 1 of Our Flag Means Death, which is pretty funny. It's a good quirky comedy show. I like that one, and I'm working on. I switched over. I heard some good things about Peacemaker, and John Cena. He's really good in that. It's been a good start to that series.
Well, I'm going to give you a little help before we let you go. The owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, put out on Twitter today asking them Jet fans, do you think our first pick will be offense or defense? 78% said defense.
Wow.
22% said offense. Are they onto something?
So basically 8 out of 10 are saying go D.
Yeah.
Look, we'll see. I mean, I think our top 10 is. I can't say it's weighted one way or the other. It's pretty even. So we'll see on Thursday night how it shakes out. But we stay at 4 and 10. We're excited about the guys we're going to add.
Well, you know what? It's good that the owner's helping out like that.
And
so
you're
you
using both those picks, right?
We'll see. We will see.
Right. Try to get some rest. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You too. That's Joe Douglas. I mean, those interviews, you're both tap dancing, trying to get some information out of them. But I kind of think, I don't know if Samuel's available. I don't know if he is, Don, but I think if he's available, I think they'd give the 10th pick up.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd give up the 4th pick.
Everything that I'm reading and every sense I got from this interview and quotes that he's had, they want to get an experienced receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
he did not shoot that down at all.
Right, and you could tell how beat up they were about Hill. Now, I don't know what they could have done differently. Maybe giving up the 10th pick, but just based on how they beat up on themselves, figuring they could have done more to get Hill, I really think they're going to make a deal to get Samuel. I really think they're going to at least make the attempt. We'll see what happens.
It all depends on San Francisco.
Right.
I think they'd be willing to, but is San Francisco, who controls him for 3 more years, are they going to make the deal?
Well, when you were talking about players, making demands. For the most part, it's the quarterback that's got the power. I don't know if Samuel's got that kind of power. And with the franchise tag that they have, they can keep him for the next 3 years. Are they just going to cave and take an offer, especially when who was it that we talked to, Michael, that said that they have like no leverage because they know that he wants out. So can you really? Yeah, it was Sal Paolantonio. So how wouldn't you be better off keeping him than just accommodating him? He's outstanding. That's still a good football team. I don't know.
Also, I'm pumped. I mean, Thursday seems so far away. There's so many things to do, but I got pumped when I heard Bear get pumped about the draft. Bear was engaged, so that was big.
You heard that?
We have ears.
Everybody in our footprint heard that.
I heard him louder than your question.
It was as loud a bark as he's ever had on the show.
Wow. All right, we'll take a brief time out, towel off, get your phone calls at 1-800-919-3776. Big end of the week ENN coming up at 6. It's Kayla Greco, Rosenberg, Bear, and you right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
Don't just watch all the NBA playoff action. Be a part of it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to bet on every matchup, every prop, even every shot. And you'll get your winnings as soon as the buzzer sounds. Make every playoff moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. Download FanDuel today.
Here's to the heroes, our teachers, nurses, firefighters, and volunteers. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And now, your local Hyundai dealer wants to thank them with a brand new 2022 Hyundai Tucson. And the hero in your life could win it. Visit HyundaiSaluteToHeroesNY.com to enter them and tell us why they deserve special recognition. Because heroes make everyone's journey better.
Small business owners know they've got to be prepared for anything. You gotta be prepared! And when you use Constant Contact, prepare accordingly. Let's send this. Let's sell this. Let's win this. With email marketing and more to drive your business forward. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
Tonight, the Yankees and Guardians begin a pregame set in the Bronx, and Yes gets you prepped with the Yankees pregame.
Aaron Boone is going to maneuver his lineup.
Then after the game on Prime Video, come back to Yes for a complete game breakdown and reactions from key players. Coverage starts tonight at 6:30 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
Did you know half of all cats in the United States don't see a vet on a regular basis? Hi, I'm Kat Dennings, and I love cats. Like, really, really love them. Seriously. That's why I'm here to ask you to take your cat to the vet each and every year. I'm working with Royal Canin and Orphan Kitten Club in their program Mighty Cat, the first grant program in the world to protect and care for newborn kittens. For the Take Your Cat to the Vet initiative, which encourages cat owners across the country to schedule annual vet visits.
Since it's tricky to decode our cat's behavior, it's super important to collaborate with your veterinarian to uncover any potential illnesses and learn the signs that something could be wrong.
As pet owners, it's our responsibility to make sure cats of all ages have a chance to live a full and happy life by providing the care they need and deserve.
Visit orphankittenclub.org/mightycat to learn more.
Volkswagen has an SUV that's the perfect match for your lifestyle. Whether it's head-turning style, room for your entire family, a turbocharged joyride, or an all-electric experience. With our SUV lineup, any choice is a smart choice. More vehicles are arriving all the time. Visit your Tri-State Volkswagen dealer today to learn more about our vehicle lineup.
What if you could use retirement accounts to invest in crypto? With iTrust Capital, you can. iTrust Capital allows you to invest in your favorite crypto assets 24/7 with the tax benefits of an IRA. So instead of paying taxes on your crypto gains every year, you can defer taxes till you retire using an iTrust IRA. Or with an iTrust Roth IRA, you can withdraw tax-free at retirement because you're in this for the long haul. Start investing today at iTrustCapital.com.
You want to be a champion every second. The regular season has got us prepared for this time. Taking each and every day we're together, having that sense of urgency.
Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me?
That was ridiculous. Can you believe that?
We have what we need to get the job done on any given night, knowing that we can be the last team standing.
Now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen, 400 horsepower and an Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
We started Warby Parker to make glasses more affordable, but then we thought, why can't we do the same thing to contacts? So we did. Shop top contacts brands without the hidden fees, plus get free shipping and save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com. When it comes to contacts, Warby Parker offers dozens of brands, including Scout, our very own comfortable, breathable, and affordable daily lens. Learn more about Scout or save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com.
I felt the connection with Brooklyn before I ever stepped foot in the Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, that changed the entire culture of the franchise.
It's unbelievable, and I can listen to these stories all day. I'm telling you, the fascination is real. I appreciate you, man.
MLB The Show 22 is out right now and ready to play on PlayStation, Xbox, and for the very first time, Nintendo Switch. No matter what your play style, MLB The Show 22 has you covered with fun for both hardcore and casual baseball gamers. Online co-op play is here. Build your team together, squad up to play online with your friends and against other like-minded baseball fans. Get it now for PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo consoles at theshow.com. Rated E for everyone. To win your copy on PlayStation 5, be the first caller right now, 1-888-987-ESPN. Well, this falls under the heading, guys, of Andrew can't have nice things. According to Shams Charania, there's fear that 76ers All-Star Joel Embiid has a torn ligament in his right thumb.
It's not fair. No.
But Embiid has vowed to continue playing through the injury, sources tell The Athletic and Stadium. Embiid will rely on his pain tolerance and 76ers medical staff.
Wow.
Andrew, your thoughts?
I have never seen anything like this. This entire era of Sixers basketball it's just the definition of nothing can be easy for them. From the way Embiid's career started, he missed 2.5 years to start. Ben Simmons missed a full season. They drafted Markelle Fultz, who then missed a full season and also forgot how to play basketball somewhere along the way. Embiid hurt his knee in last year's playoffs, but played through it. Now this, and even there, and when they traded, they drafted Mikal Bridges and then traded him draft night for Zaire Smith, who suffered some sort of allergic reaction and hasn't played since. Like, I don't know, one day 30 for 30, someone will make a documentary one day about this whole era. And, like, looking back on all the things, it'll be the most ridiculous sports story you've ever seen. It's crazy what this organization has gone through. Some of it's self-inflicted with the process and all that, but the last 10 years of them has just been, it's been unbelievable.
Fair trade.
So you're sad.
Of course. Sad. Well, I mean, yeah, the best player on the team, maybe the league has a torn. I would think even neutral basketball fans would be sad to hear that. That's not great for anyone.
In fairness. All right.
Well
what
said.
if I were to tell you going into the Super Bowl against the Patriots that this was the price you'd have to pay for that ring?
Oh, I take for that Super Bowl. I mean, you know how much I
No,
adore the Sixers, but For that Eagles Super Bowl, yes. Against the Patriots with all, yeah.
He'd kill someone. He'd kill Joel Embiid. He would kill Embiid to get the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for that Super Bowl, I think, yeah, you got to take it.
I'll tell you what, though. Listen, based on those quotes we heard, Michael, about Embiid and the fact that he'll deal with pain management, that'll be his approach. I mean, he just reminds you so much of Ben Simmons. They're almost the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
they're both warriors. Yeah. If John F. Kennedy was alive, he would put both of them in profiles of courage too. He really would.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. Hey, let's go around the bases. Brought to you by Nissan. So the Mets are in Arizona to meet the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks are bad. So the Mets have the best record in baseball right now at 10-4. So they could do some damage. Now they're going to piece it together tomorrow with a starter because they're still a little short. But we'll see, and they have to feel good about things, the way they've started the season. And, they're playing a bad Diamondbacks team. But I don't want to see anybody diminish what they've done so far because you play who's on the schedule.
But I'm not,
you play who's on the schedule. And they just took the Giants 3 out of 4.
I'm not playing that game with anybody. I don't want to hear it. Especially from Yankee fans who, quite frankly, squandered a road trip against 2 awful baseball teams. Right? So this is baseball. This isn't football where you're favored by 20 points and you're expected to win. And they also just took 3 out of 4 from the Giants, who won 107 games last year, and many people believe are, pretty much as good or maybe a tick lower, but still a playoff team.
And they came in with the best record in baseball,
So
Don.
stop. And the Phillies, listen, the Phillies are one of the teams they're battling with in their division. It's not my fault they can't field. All right, so listen, I don't want to hear that garbage, all right? You beat who you're supposed to beat on your schedule, and there's been plenty of times where you don't take advantage of it. Ask the Yankees going 11-8 against the Orioles. Those are, gifted at least 15, 16 wins, and it probably cost you a chance to win the division last year. It's early, but they're finding ways to win. They're going to take on the Diamondbacks. Then they got to go to St. Louis and take on the Cardinals, which is kind of a quirky road trip, but that's what they have. And listen, they'll be Peter. They're going to be ups and downs. It's a long season, but right now, 10-4, playing the way they are. I don't think they have to apologize for it.
So you got 3 games against the Diamondbacks and 3 in St. Louis against the Cardinals.
4-2.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
So Don, tell me this. They sweep the weekend. They're 13-4 when we talk on Monday.
Sure.
Right? It's just a few games, but that record sounds like something. 13-4. What level of excitement are you relative to other Mets teams if Monday they're 13-4?
Well, it was a few years ago they started off quick too. But like I said before, there were expectations around this team. As much as you're happy, I can't say I'm surprised by the start. I mean, this is I'm surprised that they're living up to the expectations, I guess is the better way to put it. But it's not like it's a fluke. I don't think it is. There's because they paid Lindor. They went out and got these players during the offseason. All of them have contributed. So you hope that they're going to contribute when you get them. And they've got them a manager that you really feel comfortable in. Now, does that mean I think that I've changed my expectations where now I expect them to win this division? No, my expectations are the same. I think they're a playoff team. Now, we talk a month from now, and they've got a 6 or 7 game lead on the Braves, and they're continuing to play at this clip, then maybe my expectations will change. But right now, all they've done is solidify that I thought that that's a very good pick for them to be at least a wild card team, if not the first wild card.
Now, the other team in town, the Yankees take on the Guardians, and the Guardians don't have a high payroll, but the Guardians have played very, very well. They come into the game with a 7-5 record. They're first in the majors, guys, at 5.67 runs per game. They're second in the majors behind Colorado at 280. On base percentage, third at 346. Slugging, second at 342. Colorado's first. Now, they don't hit that many home runs. They're right in the middle of the pack. 11 home runs, tied for 15th. Now, if you want to pour a little cold water on it, they have a 331 batting average on balls in play, which is extraordinarily high. The Major League average, BABIP, is 282, so it's well over that. And that's the second highest in Major League Baseball to Colorado, 338. But they're not about offense either because they can pitch, too. So this is not an easy 3-game series for the Yankees. They have a day off on Monday, and then they'll have 3 games against the Baltimore Orioles on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before they go on the road again, 3 in Kansas City, and then 2 or 3 in Toronto after that. And I do want to remind everybody, if you just got in your car, the only way to watch the Yankee game tonight is on Prime Video if you are within the viewing area of the Yankees, the viewing area of the Yankees and the Mets. That's it. That's the only way you could do it. If you're outside of the viewing area, you could watch them the way you've always watched them on MLB.TV, MLB The Ticket, whatever you want to call it, so that you could still, if you're outside of that area and you're actually watching us on Yes right now, or you're listening on the app, you can still watch the Yankees the way you'd watch them any other day. But if you're in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, or parts of Pennsylvania, the only way you can consume the Yankees on television today or on video is Prime Video. You have to have that streaming
So here's
service.
what you do. If you don't have the service or you don't want to pay for the service and you're disgusted and you're not going to be able to see the game, here's what I suggest you do. Peter, see if you follow me. You mentioned that things are starting to open up a little more. You're feeling more comfortable. You went out last night. Michael went out on Tuesday. I've actually ate a couple of times over the last 2 weeks inside at a restaurant. Went to a Patriot game last Friday. Take your wife out. Take your girlfriend out. Go for a nice dinner. Find out the score when you're done. And maybe if everything works out after dinner, maybe you find out way later, if you know what I'm talking about.
Now, if you don't have Prime Video, they're offering a 30-day free trial.
Why don't you lean into my idea?
No, I'm just giving people options, Don. That's what we do here. That's today's Around the Bases, brought to you by Nissan. Nissan's an easier choice than ever with their exciting and fuel-efficient lineup. Now get great offers across their full line. Again, Bears excited. Shop at your local Nissan store and NissanUSA.com.
I'm given the next Netflix and chill option. And you're just trying to hammer home in another way that they can get the 30-day free trial and really do everything to see this game. There's plenty of games.
Listen, I'm a facilitator.
There's plenty of games. But take your wife out to a nice restaurant, or maybe, listen, I don't want to be sexist. Take your husband out to a nice restaurant. Enjoy. Order dessert. Go home. Kids are at grandma's. Kids are at your parents' house. And just get reacquainted with the woman or the man that you fell in love with. Thank you.
Now, in case you're wondering what Don's saying, Don is actually just saying, get a life. Let's just be honest.
I'm just saying it's a Friday night, people.
It's a nice way of saying.
So there was
the nicest way of saying, get a life.
There was a time, Peter, where I did not miss a Mets pitch. Did not. In the mid-'80s, 17, 18, 19-year-old Don LaGreca, driver's license Friday night, I might have had the radio in my pocket. I might have gone to a movie or two with the earbuds or the headphones on, checking out the score, but I wasn't sitting home on a Friday night.
Now, can I tell you a quick
story about... Is that a transistor radio?
Yeah, yes, it was.
Or are you excited?
You're just happy to see it.
Or are you happy about the Mets score? So I took Jody and I went out to dinner last night. A restaurant we'd never been to. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant because I don't want to embarrass anybody. No. So we went in there, and a lot of people won't even get this reference. It was like a Russ Meyer video. I mean, really, really incredibly endowed servers. And I even brought it up to Jody. She goes, I didn't notice. And then she looked around. She goes, yeah, you're right. It was like that.
Right. I was just thinking about that. And then they end up being all sisters. Do you think they were all sisters?
I love you sharing this. See, listen, I'm telling you right now. Don, you want to know what makes them great?
No.
You tell me what respected front-facing guy of a baseball franchise, not any franchise, the New York Yankees, on his drive time show would just randomly bring up seeing an incredibly high amount of well-endowed women at a restaurant last night. That's what separates him from the others.
Michael, I was texting with Michael last night.
I'm not a creepo. You're a creepo.
I was texting with Michael last night, and he let slip where he was. So I'm going to reveal the restaurant, and the restaurant that he went to last night was Hooters. So I'm very surprised that you were surprised, Michael.
Yeah, I was shocked. Anyway, let's take a brief time out. We'll take some phone calls. And if you don't, for our younger listeners and viewers, Google Russ Meyer and you'll know what I'm talking about. 1-800-919-3776. You did?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of things.
Yeah, good. Tell us when we get back right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It.
Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuckit out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
With Home Chef, you're home free when you're craving a home-cooked meal. Our oven-ready meal kits are easy to make and even easier to love. When it comes to making dinner, fill in the blanks with Home Chef. Delicious, meat simple.
Get 16 free meals when you sign up at homechef.com.
Brooklyn is ready to take their series with the Celtics to the next level. Tomorrow night on Yes, the Nets look to heat up at home as this pivotal Game 3 tips off at the Clays.
That's a game the Nets have to have.
Game 3 coverage starts tomorrow at 7 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
I let go of trying to control things that I had no control over, and that helped me find peace of mind.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
I was constantly stressed and worried. Now I approach each day with joy and gratitude.
In Al-Anon, families and friends of alcoholics find new ways to heal from the effects of a loved one's drinking.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. For information, call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Small business owners know they've got to be prepared for anything. And when you use Constant Contact, prepare accordingly. Let's send this. Let's sell this. Let's win this. With email marketing and more to drive your business forward. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made, including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. When you order a new frame, we custom cut and polish a pair of lenses just for you. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
We believe there's an innovator in all of us. That's why we build technology that makes it possible for every business and every person to come to the table and do more incredible things.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
It's been 20 years since we first said yes.
There's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and a lot of memories.
If you're a Yankee fan, now it's automatic. You know where to go.
That's one of the greatest games you will ever see. You can't write this stuff, but there it was, right there on Yes.
That was real, and that was spectacular. Welcome to Brooklyn.
This is Yankee Art.
They're telling stories that they never get a chance to tell publicly.
It's synonymous with greatness in television.
It's amazing the impact the Yes Network has had.
20 years later, we're still saying yes. Oh, yeah, listen to that song. We're leading you right into the weekend, everybody. We are here for you. Let's take some phone calls. The great Ira in Staten Island. Ira.
Hey, Michael, Don, Pete, how are you? Good interview with Joe D. And, you know, it's interesting. These guys come on, and, of course, they sidestep and they try to beat around, not giving you any answers, which, of course, they shouldn't. But the two things that I took out of this interview, besides the Zach Wilson comments, is, number one, he's definitely not ruling out an offensive tackle in the first round. That's number one. And number two, and it's been so obvious all along, he's basically admitting they want a veteran wide receiver, which I kind of agree with him, because it's going to just mature Zach Wilson a lot faster. So that's the two things I take out of it, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing plays out. But at the end of the day, I don't think they have 9 picks. My prediction is they make 6 or 7. They will not make 9 picks in this draft.
So, Ira, you'd be okay with them using the 4th pick on an offensive lineman that might not start this year?
Oh, I think if they're going to take an offensive lineman with the 4th pick, he will start. And I think Becton and Fant will battle it out at left tackle. I think if they take Aquana or Neal, those guys are starting. I think the Becton situation, listen, I don't know what's going on. You know, I wish him well. Hopefully his girlfriend, the baby, everything's okay. But at the end of the day, he should have been here. I know it's voluntary, but he's been away from the organization for a year. And unless his wife is ready to have the baby, his girlfriend's having the baby right now, he should have been here. And he could always just jump on a plane and go home. So at the end of the day, I don't think, realistically, my speculation, they can't be happy. I don't think the fans are happy. Yeah. I think he stayed away for a reason. Maybe he's not under the weight they want him to be right now, but at the end of the day, if everything was really what was supposed to be, he would have been in town. And I got an issue with it.
Well, just like the Giants have an issue on Kadarius Toney. Great column today in the Post by Paul Schwartz, and he has to be there. I'm sorry, you have to be there. And no one could say anything because Tom Coughlin got fined when he was running the Jaguars, saying you really should be here. It's voluntary. They negotiated that. You can't make people be there, but you have to be
I don't know what kind of pregnancy his girlfriend's having. So listen, if she's having a rough pregnancy and he doesn't want to leave, I get that. But there's also the possibility that he's not in shape. He didn't want to show that to the media. Didn't want to show it to Joe Douglas. Joe's great because he doesn't give you any information, but I think intentionally he kind of lets you know the answer without saying it. And I definitely got the impression he's not happy at left tackle, and I definitely got the impression that they are going to make every effort to bring in a veteran wide receiver. Now, whether they can do that or not, this is where I disagree with Ira. Yeah, I think he wants to, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen. There's going to be other teams that are going to want Samuel too. So how far are they willing to go?
They're not using both picks on Thursday, guys. I don't think they are. It sounded like he really wants to get something else.
If they're willing to give up 10,
he also said
I think they can get him, right?
I think they are. Yeah, and I think they are. But he also did say he thinks there's a lot of depth in the draft. But when you're trying to get Zach Wilson to the next level, I just don't think they can risk someone who they hope develops into a guy. They need Zach to develop into a guy, so they need someone who's already developed to help that process.
Let's go to Pete in upstate New York. What's up, Pete?
Yeah, first-time caller.
Welcome aboard.
Pete.
Yeah,
really frustrated and actually angry. I'm 64 years old. I've been watching the Yankees since the late 60s. I had an uncle who was a fan in the 50s. I grew up hearing about all the heroes and stuff. And, I mean, I remember Roy White, Thurm, and Sparky Lyle, and Clark, and Bloomberg, and listening to the game on with Frank Messer and Bill White and Bill Rizzuto. And the fact that if I wanted to watch the Yankees tonight, I'd have to do it through streaming, and it's a money grab, and it burns. It burns. I used to drive down when I was in high school in the early 70s. Me and buddies would drive down and buy tickets.
But Pete, okay,
we got the resume.
We get you're a great Yankee fan. We got that. But when all the teams moved to cable, was that a money grab?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to watch it on Pix 11. So
and I have to carry a package that has Yes on it to be able to watch the Yankees. But at least, I mean, it's not like back in the day you had PIX. You got it, once a week. And stuff.
But also back in the day, not every game was on television. So there were times where, I used to, as a Met fan growing up, I turned on the TV, I got the $1 Million movie. That meant I had to go listen to the game on the radio. I mean, he's waxing poetic about a big Yankee fan he is, and how many of those games were on television back when he was a Yankee fan, right? Sometimes you'd have dozens of games during the course of the season that weren't available on TV. All right, so listen, I'm totally with you when they throw in the Peacock and they throw in Apple, and now then it gets a little crazy. But guys, at the end of the day, it's going to be 2 games on Amazon Prime, right?
No, it's not. It's 20 games.
Well, what's Apple's one?
Prime Video.
How many games? Are on.
It's four on Apple.
2 on. That's right. It's the 2 on Apple.
One on Peacock.
No, of course it's a money grab. We get that. I'm not telling you to not be frustrated, but you grew up where there were some games that weren't on television. Are you telling me, Michael, that they've got to cater to the people that are going to sit there and watch all 162 games? I mean, as big a diehard fan as you are, I mean, if it ends up being a handful of games on a Friday night, again, it's a money grab, and I think it's terrible. I do, but I don't know what you do about it.
Listen, I can't get upset at fans that don't have Prime Video. I can't get upset because they're settling in to watch the Yankees on Friday. But unfortunately, the world spins and turns and things change, and this is a change that some people might not like.
But where I draw the line is,
I get it. I'm not going to denigrate those people for feeling that way. But you still get 135 games.
Where I draw the line is that it's Amazon Prime. It's Apple. It's Apple, and then it's Peacock. Now, it gets a little much. I get that. But this is kind of where we're going here. And it stinks. But, he's waxing poetic about the times where he grew up. Well, when he grew up, Michael, the games weren't on television. Young people have no idea the concept. Michael, how many games were not even televised?
Oh, it was only about 80 games that was on Pix 11. Pat Leonard of the Daily News said, breaking, Giants are looking to trade Kadarius Toney, making calls on what they can get for their 2021 first-round pick.
I love it. Not exactly trading high, but, listen.
So when they say it's voluntary, it's not. Let me give you the Mets lineup, please, at Arizona.
Please.
Brandon Nimmo in center field, Starling Marte in right, Francisco Lindor at short, Pete Alonso at first, Eduardo Escobar at third, batting fifth, batting sixth, Robinson Cano. The DH, Mark Canha in left field will bat seventh, batting eighth, playing second base, Jeff McNeil, and James McCann is going to catch, and he is going to bat ninth. Somebody just said something in my ear. I didn't know what they said. What? Really? I don't. Let me see if I got to do business here, guys. No. I can do it.
You do?
I don't know. Prove it. Show me something.
This is Don. This sounds like the drop of me talking to it by accident.
Starting lineup brought to you by Nissan. Now, the one big decision that Buck has to make, I think, Don, and I think it's too early to make it. How long do you stay with Cano? Mets owe him $40 million over the next 2 years. He has not hit. He did hit that home run on Jackie Robinson Day, but you take a look. I think he has 4 hits. 2 have left the infield. So how long does he go with him? But, Buck said the right thing yesterday. He's got a history of hitting, and we'll stay with him. But how long? That's the key.
I think
He's
as
in the
long
lineup
as they
today.
start winning, if you start to hit a rough patch, then I think if he's costing you games, right now you're 10-4. But listen, if he's not going to play second base, I don't want him clogging up the DH. I want Dom Smith to get some at-bats too.
Well, that's tonight's starting lineup for the Mets against the Diamondbacks, brought to you by Nissan. Nissan's an easier choice than ever with their exciting and fuel-efficient lineup. Now get great offers across their full line. Shop at your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com. ENN's coming up in just a moment, so stick around for that. Right now on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Baseball is back, and you know what that means. Superstitions and great offers from DraftKings. New customers can win $200 when they bet $5 on any team to win their game. So don't change those lucky socks. Download the app, sign up with the promo code, bet $5 to win $200 on any team to win their game, and make it rain with an official sports betting partner of MLB.
The Yankees' principal owner and chairperson passed away Tuesday morning at the age of 80, leaving behind a lasting legacy that will stand the test of time. Under his leadership, the Yankees became the leading sports franchise and the most highly recognized sports brand around the globe. We've been with you all day here at Yes, celebrating the life of George Steinbrenner and all that he accomplished on a journey that saw him become a figure the likes of which we may never see again. Well, you know, it's hard to put into words exactly what this man meant, but this is the first game since the end of the 1972 season that George Steinbrenner is not atop the hierarchy of the New York Yankees. This was the Yankees' first game back at the stadium after that happened. It seemed like they had a little guidance from above. It didn't seem like they were going to lose that game, that they could lose that game, and then they won it in dramatic fashion.
Ten years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide.
It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
And it's Liberty Bell closest to the rail. Around the back turn, and here's the horse that comes. That race is way up the outside. And they're being thrown on track. They come down to the line again. They're back in action. The book the goal. He's the rider. And
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Trufolia. The exact moment the only thing you're craving meets your mouth. On time, lowest price, or we'll make it right. Grubhub.
I have, over my 30 years, seen many patients who have excessive sweating. I recommend Carpe. It's a game changer.
Carpe is up to 3 times stronger than a regular strength antiperspirant. Try it today at mycarpe.com with limited time free shipping.
It's one thing to build a truck. It's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
And New York City wins the first MLS Cup on their first try. Up the chest and what a goal! Thomas Magno makes it with the head. That's what we do, baby!
Get trending with off-field fashion. As designers from FIT style celebrities from the sports world and beyond. Off-field fashion, exclusively on the S app.
For every sport, there's a business behind the sport.
The total of that plus operation was $100,000 a day.
Forbes Sports Money goes inside the numbers.
I took the deal in equity.
To explore the financial side of the game.
It's been very successful for us.
Forbes Sports Money. New episodes every month right here on Yes.
Hi, everyone. Hello. How are you?
Hi.
I'd like to start off ENN tonight by saying it's brought to you by our friends at Sloman's and Casa Noble. And let me start off by saying good evening to Michael.
I clapped longer than Don.
And I'd like to say good evening to Don.
I saw some great movies this weekend. I saw The Godfather. I saw Gone with the Wind. I saw It's Pat.
I walked out of it. It's Pat, Don. The only movie I ever walked out of.
Really?
Yeah.
I only walked out of one movie in my entire life. And
What's
I'm embarrassed that I did it.
Go ahead.
San Elmo's Fire.
Wow.
And I like it now. But the problem is I saw it when it came out, and I was still in high school, so I just didn't get the whole vibe of living post-college and everything. So we were like, this is ridiculous. We all walked out in unison. There was like 4 of us.
I've never walked out of a movie. I can't. You know how I feel about Tree of Life. It felt like death. And I said, it's got to be better. It's got to get better. It has to.
I enjoy Tree of Life.
Oh.
And also, good evening to Michael and myself.
What a clown.
Sorry, I apologize. Now, let's start with the disaster of a T-Wolves game yesterday, shall we?
Sure.
This was really something as far as the Grizzlies' comeback goes. This is one of the largest comebacks in the postseason over the last 25 years. Clippers came back from 31 down a couple years ago. Clippers did it to the Grizzlies, actually, in 2012, a 27-point comeback. But this one was absolutely brutal. No timeout called, which is pretty incredible, as Minnesota blew a 26-point lead to the Grizz. Let's go to the post-game presser and hear from T-Wolves star, Cat, Karl Anthony Towns.
4 shots for you. Just what did you see out there, and why was it so hard for you to get involved?
How do you go about just trying to maybe pick guys up or pick the collective mood of the team up?
Go home, drink some wine, move on to the next day.
Now, you know what? That doesn't work, man. I like this guy. I know he's gone through a lot. That doesn't work. You get 4 shots in a game like that, you got to demand the ball. You got to make yourself in a position that you can take the shots. Go home and drink wine. You got to. The thing with Karl is, it makes me wonder whether the Knicks should really go after him. I probably still would because he's got really incredible talent. Where's the fire? Why are you not ticked off? That's an embarrassment what happened yesterday. You got 4 shots in a game that you could have taken a 2-1 lead in a series? That doesn't work for me, Karl. And this is a good guy, but you can't be that chill. You can't be.
Let's hear from Charles Barkley on TNT. He's disappointed with Cat as well.
I can't believe his answers.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Man, next question. Dude, this is like 2 times in the last week in playoff situations, you get more fouls than points and rebounds, and your answer is, next question, well, I'm just go drink me some wine. No. That's bogus, man. That's total BS. Dude, you were the #1 pick in the draft. You're supposed to be a franchise player. You got to quit committing stupid fouls, but you got to play better, man. There's never excuse, never, for a guy who's an all-star to get 6, 5, and 5 fouls 2 times in a 2-week period in must-win situations.
He's right. I'm sorry, he's right. The last guy I want to jump on, because he's a good dude, lost his mom to COVID. He's battled with COVID as well. That's just awful. Next question, that's embarrassing.
Listen, guys, he's had a really difficult year, and I can't even imagine what he's going through, losing his mom, and it's awful. But if you start to lose the fire, then you got to get out. Like, these are the playoffs, and if you're not going to have that fire, then you're just going to get eaten alive. You just are. I'm not saying you got to be, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, but he just sounds like it's, hey, there's more important things to do. Hey, this is just life. And maybe that's just a way to talk him off of what was a very difficult loss. But if there's a lack of fire there, what shot do you have in this league or any league? I still have his jersey here, so I'm displaying it.
The Hornets have fired Coach James Borrego after 4 years. Mitch Kupchak made the announcement. He was 138 and 163 over his 4 seasons in Charlotte, and he could actually walk into the radio station wearing a name tag with his title on it, and I still wouldn't have known who it was, which is crazy. And let's see, in other coaching carousel news, Jay Wright says he's retired because, quote, I didn't have the edge that I've always had. Let's hear it from Jay Wright himself.
I've been thinking about it for a few years. You just think about it. But during this season, it started to hit me that it was just the right time. I just kind of looked at where my coaching was. Everybody being in place, our staff, the team. As I said, we wanted to leave this in a better place than we found it, and we wanted it to be strong. I started to feel just like I didn't have the edge that I've always had, where the edge always came natural to me, and so I started evaluating it.
Jay, you could have told Kyle Neptune that, so he could have stayed your assistant and not teased Fordham.
Wow, that's
it. All comes
that's
back.
A take.
It all comes back to you. Let's hear a little bit more from Jay Wright on his team and on what they did for him this year.
I might not have been on the top of my game this year as a head coach, but the staff was, and the leadership of this team was. That's what it was so amazing. It was amazing for Patty and I, and even Mark kind of knew I might not have been on the top of my game, and we're watching these guys and what they did. It was incredible.
Well, just like we were talking about with Karl Anthony Towns, if you've lost the edge and lost the desire, then you get out. Right?
Well, I wonder if he could find the edge in the NBA. Like, would a new challenge give him that edge back? Because, I mean, let's be honest, guys. He turned Villanova from a really nice program into an absolute top-tier basketball powerhouse. They competed for the title, it seemed like, every year. I wonder if it got a little boring.
Listen, every college coach I've spoken to, the hard work is to just you're begging kids to come to your school. That's hard, man, and it's every year. It's relentless, and the better player you get, the quicker it all turns over. That's why a lot of college coaches prefer the NBA. You're handed the players. Here, coach them. You don't have to go get them. You don't have to make the trades for them. You don't have to sign them as free agents. You're handed them. Now coach them. Well, you're the GM, the president, and the coach when you're in college. It's hard. It wears you down.
And what do we talk usually with athletes? Like, how long do you want to do this? And they'll say, oh, my body will let me know, or when it's no longer fun, or I don't have the desire to do it anymore. And doesn't that work the same for coaches? I mean, 60 years old is still young, but it's not really about the age. It's just that if he just doesn't have the drive to do it anymore, I mean, I admire him walking away. Now, if this is just a ploy to get more money or just a way to be able to go to some other school, that shouldn't be the case, right? You can just walk away from any contract in college. So maybe it's a new challenge, like Peter said, go to the NBA. Or maybe it's just, I just don't feel like doing it anymore.
Let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics, who will play Game 3 at 7:30 Barclays Center tomorrow night. And Ben Simmons says he's probably not playing in Game 3. Let's hear from Ben.
It's literally day to day. So I've had plenty of great days, which has been great for me, and building up. So we're just trying to put those great days together and just keep building up to get back on the floor, and play at that high level.
He's
ridiculous.
asked, is Game 4 a reasonable possibility?
No, I think it's reasonable to think that, but it's day to day. I can't tell you, definitely Game 4, Game 3. If I could play right now, I'd be on the court, So it is what it is.
Stop. Come on. You could play Game 4, you could play Game 3. There's one difference, 1 day difference. Saturday and Monday. If he plays Game 4, it's disgraceful that he doesn't play Game 3. And I'm going to guarantee you what I guaranteed earlier. If they win Game 3, he's not playing Game 4. If they lose Game 3, all the pressure's off. He's supposed to lose. He'll play Game 4 then. You got to convince me you want to play, Ben. And what you did with the Sixers and what you've done here with the Nets, it's convinced me that you don't. I don't think that's unfair. I don't think that's judgmental. That's just what we see.
There's enough evidence, right? It's hard to give him the benefit of the doubt when you take a look at what's happened the last couple of years.
I agree with you. I feel the exact same way right now, especially, speaking of which, today, Andrew is very, very upset, very, very there's fear that Joel Embiid has a torn thumb ligament.
I will fight you after this show.
He would reportedly push on and just deal with this and finish out the playoffs, sounding exactly like his former teammate Ben Simmons.
Bottom line, Peter, they sold their soul. They ate poop, the whole deal, just to get a Super Bowl. Now it's coming home to roost. Look what's happening with the Phillies. That's look what happened with Wentz. They sold. Okay, God, I'll sell my soul for Super Bowl victory. You got it, buddy. Now suck it up.
Flyers have been an absolute disaster. Seriously.
All worth it, Andrew? All worth it?
Definitely. I mean, the Eagles did go to the playoffs last year. Sixers are still really good and fun.
Okay. You want really good or you want titles?
Wow.
I got that with the Super Bowl.
That's what they said.
Well, you're never going to get a lob trophy, are you? You're never going to get a Larry O'Brien. Never getting a
said
lob.
Every Yankee fan. You want to be good or do you want trophies? They want trophies.
You know what? You played Aaron Boone just there. You got to listen to today's podcast, guys. There's a lot. We talked to a lot of people. I mean, it was stacked. And there was one interesting moment when Michael read a fan question to Aaron Boone, and Boone didn't love the question. Let's hear it.
From Sebastian H. He said, Boone says guys need to get into routine beginning of season. How do they get into routine when the lineup changes every day?
I mean, you know how I feel about it. I mean, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Donaldson, Gal. I mean, they've all basically hit the same spot. Stop with that, honestly.
I think he meant with the rest.
With
resting.
I mean, these guys have one or two games off, and it. Michael and Sebastian H. We had a 3-week spring training. April is a month when guys get hurt. Typically in our game, to go from playing 2 and 3 games in a row in spring training where you're playing 6, 7, and 8 innings built up, to going out and playing 12 games in a row or 9 games in a row of 3-hour, 3.5-hour, travel now mixed in. That's when people get hurt, and especially when you have guys, and in our case, some guys that are more veteran players that have had a history. I'm going to build them up.
I love that he called out Sebastian
That is
H.
nice. Hope Sebastian appreciated
it. He. By the way, as the interview went on, here he is again, still annoyed with the question about rest.
Or gets graffiti too.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Well, gosh, you guys got me worked up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. When we talk about rest, your blood pressure goes up a little bit.
I mean,
isn't that weird?
I mean, they've played all the games, and it's not like just because on a given day they don't start out of 14 days. It's kind of nice to have that guy sitting there for a potential big at bat late in the game too. It's not all terrible.
He got fired up.
No, I'd love to argue with him, but that's just the philosophy. It's just you're not going to sway him. It's an organizational thing that he believes in. But still, it does feel ridiculous. 14 games, my God, 14 games. They've already had a couple of days off. It does. Don't make it seem like 14 is oh my God, how do you do it? But they've got the stats. I don't have the stats in front of me how many players get hurt in April. But they're living by it. But don't you think it kind of sounds ridiculous when you hear, well, come on, 2 days and 14. What's the it's a big deal to people.
But here's the difference, Don. They just have players that they can't play every day because the Braves didn't get hurt in April last year. Their starting infield, their top 4 players played 155 games plus. Freddie Freeman played 159. So it just must be the players that they know they can't ride that hard. They just can't. Because if you have young athletic players, they can play every single day.
All right,
I'm sorry.
Stanton I get. Donaldson I get. All right, maybe Rizzo to a certain extent, because what is he, 32?
32.
And Torres was struggling. But when you talk about Hicks should be playing every day that he can. I mean, how many times he missed? And it wasn't like, was it attrition injuries where he played too long or just kind of fluke injuries? But some of these guys are young. I mean, this is a big year for Jay. He's only 30. Stanton I get because he's had issues. Even LeMahieu to a certain extent because he's been around for a while.
See, but you've named a lot of people. That's why the way the roster is constructed, they feel they have to rest these people. They can't ride them into the ground. They'll get hurt.
Kiner Falefa has gotten rest. Hicks is off tonight. Right. Judge has missed a game. But yes, there's certain guys, Michael, but it's not just the certain guys that are getting days off.
Right.
Guys, remember a couple of days ago we talked about how Kadarius Toney wasn't showing up to voluntary workouts, and the Giants said it was fine? Now Pat Leonard is reporting the Giants looking to trade the 2021 first-round pick. Don't you love when the Gettleman gifts just keep on giving and giving?
Joe Skihoing.
Yeah, I mean, God, that pick was questionable from the beginning. Of course, he said questionable things last year, was not super productive, doesn't show up to voluntary workouts, and now it looks like either they're going to move on from him, or I don't know if they'll get a trade done, guys. They just now may be stuck with a guy who they were trying to move.
I don't know. It's like with Samuel with San Francisco. Once somebody demands a trade or once it becomes known you're trying to trade him because he's disgruntled and he missed time because of injury last year and, hasn't been, the perfect soldier, if you will, you're not exactly trading with a lot of leverage. It's like, hey, this is somebody we don't want anymore. Who wants him? Okay, I'll give you a 5th-round pick. All right. I mean, he's got talent. There's no question. But come on. He's got, I don't know. Maybe there's something serious going on. That's why I'm not going to jump back in. He's got a girlfriend that's pregnant. There could be issues that he doesn't want to leave her. Sounds so easy, just get on a plane, fly back and forth, but we don't know the situation. But if everything's fine, he just doesn't feel like being there with a new general manager, with a new head coach. And by the way, the general manager did not draft you. So you kind of feel like this is an audition to stick around, and he doesn't show up for the voluntary
it's not
workout.
Like you have the stats. You don't have the stats last year to assume that anything. Like there's not enough to assume anything based on your track record. So speaking of the Giants, former Giant safety Logan Ryan has filed a grievance against the team, disputing the amount that the Giants owed him after they released him back in March.
Right. He had, I think it was back surgery. It's $3 million that he's looking for. Now, I'm a fan, so, I mean, we loved him when he was on. So if it's some clerical error or something, we'll see. But if he's owed it, he should fight to get it. But I don't know what the Giants side of it is, but that's what I'm hearing is that it's $3 million he's owed.
Earl Thomas is interested in making a return to the league after 2 years at 33 years old. He last played for the Ravens a couple of years ago. He was released in August 2020, 2 days after punching teammate Chuck Clark. You remember that, Don?
Oh, sure.
During a training camp practice.
That was like,
he's
wasn't
just
that
33 years old.
Was that on Hard Knocks?
It might have been. And he says he's in shape. He's ready to go. So we'll see if someone has any interest in the former Legion of Boom stud. Now, Mike Tyson update.
No, please.
The brilliant guy who decided to antagonize Mike Tyson on a JetBlue flight Melvin Townsend III. He has lawyered up. He now has an attorney from a law firm called Morgan & Morgan. And their quote that we're getting right now is, when Mike Tyson boarded the plane, he became overly excited. At first, the interaction was cordial. At a certain point, Mr. Tyson clearly became agitated by an overly excited fan and began to strike him in an excessive manner. The situation could have been avoided simply by contacting the flight attendant.
So there's no mention of the water bottle.
They did not mention the water bottle.
Or
the video of him taunting Tyson behind his back.
Yeah, this is not going to end well for him.
It is going to end well for Yes, because you guys have a fantastic Yankee broadcast coming up right now.
That's right.
So we bid farewell to the Yes Network, and we'll continue here for a few more minutes on ENN, and then you got to switch over to 98.7 to hear us the rest of the way.
That's a wrap on the show for today and this week. Coming up next, our coverage of the Yankees in Cleveland begins with the pregame show, and then the game is over on Prime Video. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night, have a great weekend, enjoy the games this weekend, and tonight we'll see you Monday at 3 o'clock.